Hello, Twitch. How's it going? I'm always happy to be here, and I hope you are too. Welcome to the Violet Sea, the actual play of my game, the Tri System. That is the only show that's made me seriously contemplate the mechanics of giant crab wolves and how to eat them. But
Proud of you.
that's maybe more for our players to decide. And I would love for my players, starting with Foxy and going down the side of the pirates and then down the side of the scholars, introduce themselves and who they're playing. We'll
Ooh,
do shout outs at the end.
can we get some intro music?
Yes, we can, because I have forgotten that.
Cue my music, DJ. Hello, it's me, Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite fox. How you doing, internet? I can now be found on the internet at Foxy Eternal. That's FOXXXI Eternal, as it is, because that's new today. Today I will be reprising my role as the loquacious, rambunctious, and audacious Captain Dre, who's kind of pissed right now, to be perfectly honest. But we'll deal with that in a bit. You're up, Michelle.
Hey, it's me, Michelle. I don't try to find me on social media because I don't exist on social media. But today I'll be playing Quinn Archer, our bodyguard, come chef, come medic. Just don't piss him off.
Guess it's me.
Yeah.
Hey, it's me, Veil Prime. I'm playing Reese, the transhuman android who likes to play the pipe organ. Let's see how this goes. We'll pass it on over.
Hey everybody, it's me, Sir Heckalot, who can be found on all the social media as Heckalot. And as per usual, today I am playing Arden, playing the user biologist, who is very much in their element as of last session, and has concerns over what happened at the end of last session, so we're gonna see how that goes. Let's keep on keeping on.
It's me, Lucia. I'm here, again. Playing Dr. Oliver Evans, our marble slinging hero scientist. Just, vibing, enjoying this whole pondering the orb that keeps its island afloat. And yeah, I'll pass it on.
Hello, I'm Purple Phil. I'm playing Maxwell Tuttle, our boat historian. Yep, that's it, nothing else. Researching boats.
Totally not sus.
I'll pass it back to our estate.
And yeah, I am the Lorist, which is the name I decided to call the person who runs this game. You can at me about that on Twitter. I'm not afraid. Anyways, as of last time, the thing that Sir Heck very much alluded to was that after making your way through the continent, encountering a whole bunch of wolf crab things.
Assassin crabs.
Assassin crab.
Yeah, assassin crabs. All the assassin crabs.
Can't forget that meme.
Much
Right,
assassin
that was pretty
crab.
good meme. It's such assassin crab. You managed to find the vault that was sort of the main crux of this whole journey. I got questions. The reason they didn't open the vault the first time was just the island was going too high and they had to leave right when they found it. This time you knew exactly where it was. And what you found inside was not great. It was a mostly abandoned facility that led all the way to sort of this island heart that has all these complicated tubes and mechanisms to sort of artificially move the water and the earth it collects from the aether throughout the rest of the island. And it was real busted. Man, we keep on getting so many hype trains.
A lot of hype
you
train.
classical guys, Giza? I'm not exactly sure.
Liza.
Glyza. Oh, I missed the L there. Yep, Glyza. But yeah,
Don't
you
worry,
guys.
you never miss an L.
Hey,
We always take the
I
L.
always take the L's. Anyways, same brain cell. So you found that it was definitely sabotaged by someone. Now, I do want to kind of come in on that moment. It's later in the afternoon of that same day, and Professor Ozturk has basically spent the rest of the day in here. I think at one point he asks you, Oliver, to bring in a cot or two if you can, because he's just gonna spend all his time researching this place. And some of the things he has found, because while he is not exactly great on, let's say, any kind of action-oriented events or like political maneuvering, he is good at this in particular. He digs in as much as he can into every detail he can find. He does find some supplies here that I think that the ship has rights to. There are plenty of these refined aether steel kind of metals that you've been seeing sort of all around. It's mostly like the barrels of guns. There's actually like a few fairly generic looking swords made out of this. They're still nicer than what you guys have. There's also like doors and like containers that are meant to keep things safe from the elements and things like that just scattered around. Things in here are actually fairly well preserved, considering. You think that the front door wasn't like airtight, but it definitely kept a lot of the various creatures out. And the things inside of the vault itself was in fact fairly airtight, but the island heart was kind of pumping aether in and out, so that also got fairly corrupted and exposed to the elements. But outside of that, Ozturk has found that the mercenaries that did this job, as he just sort of like places the crime scene, I guess, they couldn't get directly into the vault, and what it looks like they had to do was that they all snuck into the arms room, like the armory, and then just fought their way from there at like the middle of the facility all the way to the back, which is why there's bodies mostly starting there, and then forced several of the people in the facility to open the vault. And then did their work. He can't find evidence of who hired them, but they definitely are from not around here, at least the mercenaries. And as much as he, possibly as an academic, possibly just as someone who doesn't want to contemplate the consequences of that assumption, doesn't want to assume that it is necessarily an outside force, but like who would attack the heart of their own continent that they live on. So you can see him sort of having to deal with that throughout the night. I think it's also about this time that Reese, you managed to get Oliver to open that box that you found last time. And you find a journal.
Oh, I was hoping there was like pictures of my kids or something in there.
Well, there are sort of that. This is a journal, not like a photo album, but you have always been pretty good at technical drawings. It's kind of part of your sort of engineering mechanical background. But you might be surprised to find that you tried your hand at drawing some of your family from way back then. Sort of in the margins and on a few pages. And most of the journal is about your sort of journey to this continent and like gaining the trust is probably the wrong word, but like gaining the respect of some of the academics here and trying to ask them more about metallurgy, mostly like material sciences. It's very similar to, what Oliver does. And it's a lot of meeting with this person, talking to them with that person. But eventually this journal becomes a far more technical document, and you start seeing schematics that quickly you realize are schematics of you, of the body you are in now.
Ooh.
And it is the sort of brain case and heart case part of your body that you're using these technical terms for like a material we do not yet have. I don't know, would you use something like unobtainium? Is usually like an engineering term for that?
Anything but unobtainium, please. Just.
Yeah, so absolutely, I wrote down unobtainium.
I'm gonna break something important on you.
Sorry. And yeah, there's a lot of notes on like what would this material be like, and then parts of the journal of talking to the basically leaders of like aether refined materials, because the material has to be able to not just conduct aether extremely well, but store it. It's one of the things that you have slowly realized as you gain more memories back, that didn't exist when you were around, like before. When you were building your body, no one had the ability to store aether for any length of time. It just sort of, there was a decay to it, like you would start losing power very quickly in anything you kept it in.
Do
You
I
have
write
notes on-
about like what metal the box is made out of? Like, is it?
Yeah, actually, I think it's part of what is built inside of you. In fact, I think you realize it's similar to your skeleton. It's extremely refined. I guess effectively like a steel titanium alloy that has also been infused and refined through aether to the point that it is extremely resistant to any kind of like wear and tear of the elements. It's not as structurally sound as some like highly refined steels or other like harder materials that are better for construction, but for like a person size thing, it's probably the best thing you're gonna get.
Okay, awesome.
I think the last note is sort of near the end before this journal ends, is you having meetings with someone to develop this like aether storage device that would end up being effectively what's your brain and heart at this point. And there's a lot of notes on like various aether channeling creatures that seem to be able to hold aether for a long time and how you can imitate those features. Although the biology is beyond you, the mechanics are like make a lot of sense to you as to why you would need them for your body.
Okay. Well, I got the box open, and a promise is a promise. So I'll hand the box over to Oliver so he can research
Thank you.
that.
I'll take a look at this some other time, and I'll just kind of store it away while looking still at the heart.
So I'd like to give you guys a chance to like stay in this space after the discovery this afternoon. The ship quite easily can end up sort of anchoring above the mouth of this vault. It can't really land there, but it could land fairly close by. I think you can get some of the crew to clear a bit of the ground nearby in a suitable landing spot that's not too far of a hike.
Think
Oh,
what
this is it, huh? This keeps the entire thing afloat.
Oster's like, well, yes, this and several others. There's two more. It's actually the chain of mountains on the continent are holding all of them.
Wonder what it's made of.
Oh, well, I mean, we can analyze it. It's effectively what we imitate when we make an aether steel. It's the deep aether especially is just full of seemingly loose minerals and gases and other sorts of elements. The bigger mystery is how it's made. This is a naturally occurring structure somehow.
Right. Well, Ozturk, you know how I do the thing with the marbles?
I'm very familiar with the thing with the marbles.
What do you think would happen if I just kind of pretended that this whole thing, and I'm going to put my palm on it, was a marble? What kind of effect do you think that would have on this island as a whole?
He sits and contemplates. It's like, I'm not sure. I haven't really studied the mechanics of your particular branch of magic.
Because I have half a mind to see exactly how much of this I can control.
I would love for you to not like charge it right now, but roll your magic skill to sort of get a
Gotcha.
sense of this thing.
Love for you to not blow up the island while we're on it, please.
It's like, yeah, that's. Please don't blow
that's
up the evidence while we still have some.
That's a 22.
So yeah, you've placed your hand on it, and as you're talking, you don't like start charging it, and in fact, as you put your hand on it, it kind of charges you. Get 3 mental points back.
Oh, okay.
And you realize you would have a hard time charging it in a similar way to, like, I guess atmospheric pressure might be the right term, or like, I mean, electrical charge, sure, but that's sometimes hard to visualize. This thing has a lot more charge than you think you could put into a marble. It almost feels like a natural extension of what you do, like a naturally occurring version of it.
Gotcha.
But it's also like comparing someone breathing really hard to a hurricane.
Hate to seem
Gotcha.
but like that's really cool. Just like that. That's really really cool. Just that whole thing that just happened right there.
Mhm.
That's cool as fuck. Just thought I should
Hey.
throw it.
And I just, yeah, Ozturk, something tells me that if I tried to interfere too much, instead of me blowing the island up, the island would blow me up. So I'm gonna not charge that and see if maybe
try. Just give it a little nudge.
give it. See, so I haven't ruled out the possibility of me trying to, instead of charging the entire heart, trying to channel my aether to carve out some of these patterns and try to fix some of them. So
here's the thing.
that's still a thought.
Here's the thing.
Hmm.
I have all these notes here. Apparently, I built my own body. I could definitely work at repairing your body. So if something bad were to happen, if you gave it a little nudge, you could always be upgraded.
Now, I'm not going to make you roll for something, Reese, because I would need to ask you a question. How confident are you actually that you'd be able to just make him a body right now? Are you fucking with him, is the question, I guess.
It's about 50-50.
Okay. I mean, I feel like now I should make you roll something just to like give you a more accurate idea of that as a player.
What do you want me to roll? Like deceit?
No, this is to see if you really think you can. This is no longer are you fucking with him, it's more like, I think I could maybe do it. It's like, no, roll some kind of mechanical skill about that.
Reformation.
Like, I am not sparing any of the ship's moonshine to go and... What's that fancy term for it? Anesthetic. To numb any of your wounds if you do something completely dumb.
Fancy anesthetic. Sorry, that's a good bit.
That would be a 17.
Okay. You are only half fucking with him because you're like, oh, I would need a lot of materials and I'd need most of the body prepared before he did that to actually save him. But like, yeah, if you could get a hold of like one of the aether batteries from like really like a nice, if you cannibalized the ship and took the aether battery from that, you'd have one of the 2 you would need to make his body. Which like then the ship won't fly. So.
What you're
I know
saying
most
is-
of you guys are joking, but look around us. All these people sacrifice themselves for this island. I wouldn't mind losing an arm or a leg to try to save any part of this. Do you guys realize how big what we're talking about here is? This is an entire continent, you know?
With my knowledge of matter formations, complex shapes, and molecular reformation, I'm sure we could at least repair this to, I don't know, 50% of where it should be, which might help things, but it would take a lot of time.
At the very least, we could extend how long people get to spend on this continent, you know?
I don't think.
Assuming those fuckers from what is it? The trading company don't try and, well, keep mining this place.
ITC?
ITC.
ITC. 2 eyes.
I
Inter
don't.
Island Trading Company.
How about I say it?
Yeah.
Oliver, I don't think the people that sacrificed themselves did so for the island. They did it for the people on the island. They're no longer here. I don't think you sacrificing yourself, part of yourself, adds anything to what they did.
There's so much here.
All right. let me spin it this way for you. Clearly, while they may be few in number, Captain Dre's people are still out there somewhere. Like, he still has people out there. He's not the only one. So, should we not try to figure out a way to give them back their home?
Ostrich in the background. They're my people.
I mean, giving them home is great. I'm just saying, like, don't. I wouldn't compare your sacrifice.
Listen, I'm not gonna
trying to save the island. You're trying to
listen. I'm not just gonna go and blow myself up for no reason. But this is an entire continent, right? Like, even if we can just nudge it in the right direction, that's progress. That's not nothing, you know?
Ostrich's actually going to interject here. Well, yeah, I wouldn't want you to risk yourself, Oliver, with your friend, but the only reason that we can't really fully repair the continent is at least one, if not the other two hearts are buried. It's why it took me so long to find this place. Was I know where the hearts are, but finding a way to get to them is the problem, and the other vaults had been crushed over time from geological movements. But if we could extend the time that the island is available, possibly I could get some kind of expedition to try and dig our way into the other two. The problem being is that if you make it more stable, there's no telling if it means that the continent will stay under the Aether for longer, so it will disrupt quite a lot of the trading and mining that happens here, and our ability to predict when it comes out. Unless we can very precisely know exactly how much you've improved the lift capacity of this.
Ozturk.
Not to mention, none of this will be, well, a good idea if we don't know who the saboteurs came from.
True. I think that might lie with, and then he taps to the message on the wall, if you remember, that a man wrote as he was dying. That'll depend on what discovery they made that caused all this.
I mean,
Sorry, you were saying something, Mr. Reese.
If we were to boost this particular core's, this heart's state, so we repaired it just enough, it naturally could finish trying to repair itself, correct?
Yes, very possibly.
So if we can jumpstart this one into repairing itself, would that not possibly affect the other ones into repairing themselves? Are they not connected?
Not sure. Oh, no, they're not. A large continent like this is effectively several islands mashed together. In fact, there's several artificial continents. And he goes into a short for him lecture that you can interrupt, where he's like, oh yes, these continents, and he names countries that are actually originally several islands, large islands that have been knit together through human means, and on and on.
Right, but do these cores don't have roots that branch out? So would those branches not eventually interconnect, even being slammed together? Like a giant tree? Or a group of trees?
I mean, if the channels that these hearts use to collect materials were the thing that was damaged, then yes, but it's the hearts. The hearts are separate entities, and I don't know if the other two had been sabotaged like this one. It's very likely that at least one of the others have. And it would have, and he points to this, scars on the body of the heart here.
What I'm trying to get at is, if we can't necessarily get directly to those hearts, if Oliver and I were to focus on repairing this heart, could we not push that healing through those channels to the other hearts?
I don't know if that's possible from here. Possibly you could, if we knew where the other hearts were exactly, and it wouldn't be from here, it would be from the mountainside closest to them. I don't know the range and extent of your abilities, especially yours, Mr. Reese. The ability to change matter might allow Oliver to develop some kind of channel to them, but you'd have to make a physical connection to the other hearts, and now it's mostly air and gas and rock that doesn't really convey aether energies well. But that is a possibility if you think you would be amenable to it, as opposed to trying to mine our way to them.
It might be easier than, waiting months, if not years on end, to be able to try and get a mine built down.
I approve very strongly of possibly attempting fixing this one. It will at least extend our stay here and now, which may also then give us a chance to do as you propose, is fix another. I also believe, and he seems kind of uncomfortable, it's like, we may need more time to uncover what this other secret was, and perhaps prepare for what comes after when we find out what it is. But I don't want you to risk your lives. We can have another expedition in another 10 years. I know that seems like a long time, but we could be prepared to do this and prepared to find the others. I think we can collect this information together. It'll be much easier to find the funding and the personnel, especially if we can possibly shake the unpleasantness that has followed us here to this expedition. But I'll leave that up to you two. You can possibly do a little examination, some research yourself here and now to see what you can do to fix this part.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna research, because you're sitting here telling me, another 10 years before we might be able to repair this, and like, honestly, Doctor, ain't nobody got time for that.
What's science without a
This
little bit
is-
of risk?
Generally, it's not very scientific, but I am conflicted, and I'm not sure that I can decide for you.
See, that's what they always said at the academy. Oh, this is too risky. Oh, you can't do that. You'll blow up the building. But no, sometimes you just if you don't get things done, it'll never happen. It'll take years to build, like a safe demolition place, to build like a firing range or like a testing range. Sometimes you just gotta do it in the moment. And you'll either obtain your results, or something might go a little wrong. But it's always fixable.
Yeah, you can always build a new body. Look at me.
I mean, that's a little extreme, but generally speaking, yes.
What if it's not fixable?
Hey, we didn't ask for your negativity, sir.
Just offering a different opinion.
I don't know if it's as much negativity as it is maybe a little bit of realism. Just a little.
There are things that can't be fixed. It's possible.
At least my understanding, I'm not a geologist, but I don't know of any time someone has fixed a whole island. Anyone who has a history skill could definitely roll to see if there's something like that, and I would love Oliver to roll me some of his aether matter science to see what you think in a scientific
Absolutely.
way would be the effect of fixing this. I'll even let our definitely boat historian roll a history thing.
So I got a 13.
With a 13, it's a little wiggly. If you do the thing you want to do, like repair this heart, it is effectively just doing sort of a gravity lifting field. You're not really sure exactly the mechanics of how, again, you're not a geologist, you're a scientist of aether matter and material sciences, but however it's creating that lift, it's not dissimilar from your own gravity marbles. It's just at a much larger scale and more complicated. If you make more lift and you do it, I will get to that in a second. If you make more lift, do you think it's possible you'll actually shorten the time that it is under the aether? You're effectively, if you think of it as like a great big oscillating thing, you're just shortening that oscillation.
Right.
And it will, if you do it enough, it will make it more accessible for a longer period of time, because it will not go above the breathable atmosphere, because it only barely does now. So it's doable. As far as how to do it, you're looking at this thing and you're not really sure about the patterns, and you might have to roll again and study this for the night to do that. A complex sort of studying of how this works. For the history check, Reese, you have been around a while. and your magic, as well as Oliver's sort of matter charging magic, are fairly traditional forms of like aether manipulation. Like they have also been around a long time. It's probably like there's maybe one or two other kinds of magic that are older. Wind running is probably the only thing that's older than what you two do. And you actually remember an event. It wasn't something to this scale remotely, but early on in like the history of long distance, I guess naval travel, some people actively took very small islands with very small island hearts and just built boats around them, just replaced earth with metal and wood, and they were the first like warships. And they figured out how to fix these things. You don't know the exact details because it is this like history lesson, but you know that it was about having to reconnect the channels that an island heart has in it. The very specific grooves and shape in this sphere are extremely important. They kind of resonate with the rest of the island in a specific way, and these warships had to be shaped extremely specifically for it to work. Otherwise, I guess it almost made too much lift, and you had an island heart just shoot out the top of the ship. So it's doable, theoretically. But it's also kind of like looking at a puzzle where someone has ripped several pieces away and trying to figure out the space that was there.
Oster, you brought a bunch of books with you, right?
Like, oh, a lot. I mean, let's now. Oliver convinced me to leave some, but
I'm gonna need to see all of your books.
well, then yes, and
This
I
is
believe
a
I
thing
took
that
it-
we can do.
well, then, yes, of course. And he's gonna head back to the ship. Y'all can stay or follow, but
I'll go with him to help him lug back anything Oliver and I might need to to work on this.
I'd like to leave that scene there for a bit then. The rest of you, I think you can head back to the ship. There is dinner to be made and had. I think that especially Reese, you would notice just because you've been on the ship for longer, but I guess more than the academics. And Quinn, you would probably notice just because you have been on the ship the longest out of everyone here. But Danil is back, and you suddenly are like, wait, where was she? Like, you didn't realize she was gone, but now she's back because she's a presence. She's basically like the favorite person on the ship, like almost more than you, the cook. Definitely out of the crew, it's like she's the popular one. She's quick with the joke. She
She's
has
my
like a
favorite.
mandolin that she likes to play, just like sometimes when she's hanging out in the rigging and stuff like that. Fun time for everybody. And yeah, you're like, oh, she's been gone for a bit. And that's important because our captain, you sent people out to do some spying,
Sure did.
especially the ones who are wind runners. Again, one of the more older and common forms of magic in the world. And Danil and her sort of unit of wind runners have come back, and they're ready to report.
I think in the absolute moment, like since Trey's back on the ship when they get back, they would probably get towards, I think, because they know where to meet him at. I think they would get there and they would see him and what he's up to and kind of recognize like, not exactly the right time. Maybe we'll give him the evening. Dre is back in his quarters. He's basically just kind of in that room, bare of anything else. And is effectively dancing, just kind of moving in very elaborate spins and circles. It's aggressive to a degree that it looks almost like he's working through a martial routine, but there's a degree of grace to it that almost constantly belies that perception. Just consistently moving himself in elaborate spins and dipping his neck and his legs in ways that kind of create very, very far and wide arcs, and eyes closed, entirely focusing on this, and just is not responding to anyone at this point.
I think the rest of the crew leaves, and Danil sort of watches for a bit, and then eventually joins in. She's also kind of familiar with this movement. She modifies it, or amplifies it, I guess, with her own ability to just sort of walk on air. And so some of her steps are like almost a foot higher than yours, but you can see that they're the same movements. And she's not even taking a place as like the partner at the other side of you. She's taking a position next to you that indicates like the dance is both a dance with someone, but also like a communal thing, and can be done on like two sides facing each other. It almost means like negotiation, not necessarily combat, but like. So she takes your side in effectively a theoretical argument that this dance sort of
Have you been
represents.
studying Haka?
Yes and no.
We should talk about this later.
Yes. But anyways, I've been thinking about a lot of different cultural dances and what they might signify, because this is the only show that makes me also contemplate that sort of thing, because I've had to think of everything. This is a 100% original setting. Surprise. Anyways, so yeah, she sort of is just there with you to help you, I guess, work through whatever you're doing, and she's not trying to comment, she's not trying to, like, intercede. It's just everyone here knows what this dance means, and she feels maybe the closest to be able to help you with this.
Yeah, welcome to the company. I don't think he says anything, but he definitely recognizes the presence next to him, allows it to happen for a while. Kind of basically like enters like a finishing stance. He will stop himself, kind of just take a really solid breath and just. Real fucked up world we live in, yeah?
You don't gotta tell me, Cap.
Glad to see you're back, though. You got a report?
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. Not as bad as some places back home, but it's not great.
Didn't expect great. Just expected news.
But yeah, I mean, we'll have to talk to some of the others, but I went to at least where the big mines are. I figured that was the hardest place to get into, so I should be the one to get into it. And yeah, they got that place locked down pretty good. I don't know if I could get anyone other than myself and like one other person in. And no more than as many supplies as I could carry. They got a pretty high fence, a pretty wide ditch, and they got some airships overhead looking for stuff.
Well,
They're not letting anyone out.
figured as much. The smaller ones?
More doable. There's only I'd say 8 or so, just at a first, that are using slaves for their mining stuff. The rest are more like, I don't know, just people paid to do it, which sounds nice. Anyways. So 8 or so that we could probably start something in, and they have much less tight security. Hell, most of them have a airship that they brought everyone in on. You know, bigger than Lady Rachel, but since when have we backed down from a fight with someone just because they're bigger?
Damn right. Big enough. What are recruits? We're gonna need people more than anything else.
I didn't go to any of the small ones, but there's definitely enough people in the larger mining section that if we could get them some kind of armament, they would be pretty rip-roaring for a fight, I think.
Thank you. You've been really helpful.
Cap, I know you're paying us for this, but I gotta tell you, this one I'd do for free. You're still
I'm
paying.
gonna get some air. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Of course. I'm gonna get some air. You keep the crew tight for a while and make sure everyone's tight-lipped about this. This one has to go perfectly.
Aye. She sort of glides out of the room.
And Trail, again, just take one more solid breath and then step out of the room a minute or so afterwards, make his way up to the top deck.
Yeah. What are the rest of y'all doing for this afternoon? I know, Reese, you're getting books. But the other 4 of you, or 3 of you if Oliver didn't join.
Probably just doing more studying, more observation of the critters that we did find.
Oh, I do think on your sort of way there and back, because there's a bit of a hike, You do like a bit of surveying of the land nearby. Thankfully, there is not another large pack of these assassin crabs. There's a few other like scavengers. There's definitely maybe one or two predator species that seem maybe related, but you don't get a good look at them, and they are far less willing to attack a group of people because there's just one of them. They are bigger, but they seem maybe more cautious and harder to, say, ambush.
Ooh.
So, not really a lot to take note of, but you do take notes still of just the variations of those sort of thing. But yeah, that's for the assassin crabs. They chilling a little bit more in their cage. And I guess if you want to preserve them, you can roll me some tracking to hunt something nearby and not eat the assassin crabs.
Yeah, sure. I'll give that a shot. Let me get my d6s. They're right here. Okay. There's so many things on my desk right now.
Mood.
Okay. That is... I'm so bad at math. 14, and I am going to spend points on this to make that better. Remind me what the value for a full success was. Was it 16 or 17? I always forget.
16.
It's 16.
Okay, yeah, I'll spend the points for that. That's fine.
Yeah. So you easily find it's like a smaller version of the really big, large sort of grazers. It seems like it's possibly better designed for smaller spaces. Around here, there is quite a lot of this sort of coral that has grown up along the former trees, you think, just based on its shape. So it's almost like being in a forest. A lot of the coral, surprisingly, has more color to it. Like, this coral is also designed to spend extended periods out of the aether. And so you also notice, it's the kind of details you would notice as a biologist that, like, oh yeah, these smaller grazers have fairly good camouflage, are still pretty good at defense. As you track several of them, you see that two of them, instead of being able to like absorb electrical charge, it seems like they almost make some sort of like push. Like maybe it's related to like gravity magic almost, that they just sort of push things away. And as you sneak up on one, it actually seems like it can jump way farther. Like it just throws itself through, like it's made itself lighter to escape. But yeah, you can easily hunt some of those. There's only like a dozen of them around, but one of them is going to feed the whole crew because it's still pretty big. So yeah, you don't have to roll for that. I think you have someone with you. It's not that hard to get one. They are, again, let's say uber durable.
But I make a request of the table. I feel like there's a lot of really good like roleplay happening here. I just feel like it's all really separated, and I like our characters a lot, and I want them to interact. So like, since we now have this massive crab creature for dinner, buffet dinner, maybe, just like I don't know, something.
Oh, there's going to be a buffet.
Cool. Just a thought.
I was gonna lean into that. It's like, yeah, you bring back a pretty big crab carcass, and Quinn, what we gonna do? What we gonna do for dinner?
Oh, okay. So I mean, before Quinn goes to dinner, I think Quinn's gonna grab suspicious suits over and like make a trek around the mercs' bodies, because Quinn knows Dre. Dre's gonna get them into a fight with whoever did this. So knowing your enemy is going, and Suits is the historian. But if you want to know what you're having for dinner, there's going to be.
Well, we can do that scene first. I like that scene. Sorry, so this would happen when you were back in the vault.
Okay.
Well, because that's where the bodies are.
Yeah.
Or I guess you could pull him at the ship and be like, "Hey, what do you know about those?" If that's how you want to play the scene.
I think in the vault. So Quinn heads over to Suits. Just.
I imagine it's like as you're all leaving, you just sort of like pull him aside, and you're a very big person. You just like gently but firmly pull him closer, and then
Asking but not asking.
Yes.
Like, Suits, you got any read on the kind of weaponry groups like this?
Lorist, do I have any read on the weapon?
you can roll me some
Um,
history.
also,
I'll
like-
even let you do spycraft stuff because you might
Yeah.
maybe be able to apply that. I think.
How old? When did the island start doing this? It's been like this for like 100 years, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it's like 110, 120, something like that.
And I guess, like, can Quinn, like, think about, like, maybe tactics? Because Quinn knows from, like, a defense standpoint how he would handle...
Oh, you can definitely roll that if you'd like.
Okay.
But I'd like the history roll first.
Yeah, that's gonna be a 13, but I'll use 3 mental points to bump it up.
Alright.
Yeah. Full success.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing you would know is this is 120 years ago, and mercenaries. There's possibly mercenaries on the island right now, like people hired, but there's no way of knowing. I mean, the IITC barely existed at that point, and they've now got their own military force. So, if that's going to be that helpful, but tactics-wise, yeah, they all came in as, like, disguised as soldiers, got to the armory, and revealed their plan, and just got the drop on them. They had all the weapons there. And so most of the weapons are the ones that were made on this island. Like the specific kind of spear gun that is, kind of odd, but still works, old-timey. It's not really as well-made. Think musket-ish. There's a lot of swords. There's a lot of, like, throwing weapons that you think possibly are made to catch the wind. Because there were a lot of windrunners here, like a lot.
That's from the other side, probably. Yeah. Can I ask a question though? Because it seems really weird that
100%.
as this is a very secretive mission, hiring mercenaries seems like a bad idea if you don't want people to know about this. And the fact that it has been kept secret, if mercenaries did this, I don't think it would. Either A, the mercenaries are all dead.
You know what?
Because otherwise,
You got to a 16.
Yeah.
So, you know in history, no one knows about this. And these mercenaries, they're not dressed like mercenaries in like a recognizable troop. They're dressed like mercenaries and then they are not recognizable.
That's what I was figuring. Okay.
But because of also the thing that you actually are as a spy, you 100% know that you're not sure when this tradition started because they don't exactly keep a book of like the history of spies. But your understanding of this is, yeah, if you were going to do this or the people you worked for were going to do this, they would hire professionals and definitely tie off loose ends and kill anybody who they hired, or they would promote them to so high in the organization that if that organization fell due to the secret being revealed, they would also get fucked over by it. That's kind of your understanding of how you would keep that secret.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, good to
Mhm.
confirm that then. I think what Maxwell will point out then at least is that they are, I can do it in character. Well, they're all dressed in mercenary garb, but it's not from the same area. None of it quite makes sense or tells the right story. Mercenaries kind of, I don't know, a lot of times they're mismatched, that kind of stuff, but usually not quite this well mismatched. Some people come from the same areas. Everybody here has a different uniform from the mercenary side. There's nothing similar between them.
So you think
Seems
this
more
is a
like
professional group?
Someone's faking to be a group of mercenaries.
Why though?
Just the idea that Arden like stops and
Just
hears
slides
that.
in,
Yeah.
just like, okay, but why?
Well, I don't know.
Politics, probably. Seems to be the usual
Well,
answer.
No, I'm smelling bullshit. Sorry.
It's fine.
That's a 20, by the way. Arden, if you want to go
You
get
already
that.
rolled a lot of, like,
If anyone can see through a 20, it's Arden. I'm just saying.
You're not
Yeah,
wrong, but
My D6s hate me.
if
Nah,
I'm defending, I also can spend 6 points.
You know what?
Belief.
Yeah, you know what?
Believe, triple
If
sixes.
I'm ever going to vibe check, it would probably be now.
Yeah.
So hold on.
Also, I got a
I
16
don't
on
think
the
I
tactic
don't
roll.
think I mean my actual roll.
We'll get to that in a bit, but I do like this lie real quick.
Oh, but it might be fun to actually do a vibe check. No, we're just gonna do a roll. We're just gonna do a roll. I'm not gonna use any moves. That's a horrible idea.
No, do it.
Generally using moves against PCs is like not one of the things I do.
Okay, fair.
Fair enough.
Okay. What's my insight? Fuck, I'm so bad at math. Hold on.
You get a plus
You got
2,
plus one.
plus 1.
Bump up from chat.
Got a +1.
Oh, I have a. Okay.
You bump up from
Alright.
chat.
Vibe check,
Or
vibe
is
check.
it a -1? No,
The regret.
It's
The
confirmed.
regret.
It's confirmed to +1.
I know.
Yeah, I
And
have to spend a point.
And reminder,
to
you could do that in additional. Yeah.
I have to.
Hmm?
I have no choice. It was a
With
19
3 points,
plus
you match it?
everything. And at 1 point would match it, so
You can
yeah,
spend 3 though.
What?
I can spend
You can
three.
spend
defend
3
you
on top of that.
in this position?
You're defending. What do you mean?
Okay, I'm defending. Okay, so I get to spend at the end. I can spend 6, just so you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
He's real
if I
good at
want,
those.
if I want you not to catch me, I can basically catch it.
Exactly.
That said,
Oh, you're
you don't
so
know if I
fun.
want you to not catch me or not.
That's
True.
also true.
Uh-oh.
Your call.
Fuck. You know what? Hopefully nothing horrible is gonna happen. I'm not gonna need all these points later. I'm just, yeah, we're just gonna go with it. We're just gonna spend the points and see what happens.
To get you to, I guess that would make it 22 at max?
Yes.
With a,
Alright.
And then I think there's a plus 1 from chat if you want to use that one.
Oh, that
No,
was
including the
including
plus one.
Oh, it's the plus 1. Okay.
Fail, are you causing drama? Who's that +2 to?
No boosting your own shows. Come on now. Behave yourself.
I'm not gonna spend any points.
Emotional.
Interesting. Yeah, so don't worry about the +2 then. So, you, Arden, have known Maxwell for a bit. Like, not a long time, but for a bit. He's this academic, he's been around the college that Ozturk especially has been in for a while. And it's odd to you that he is like, your guess is as good as mine, effectively, here. He has been someone who speculates before. And also, you can think of a good reason why they would do that. It's to hide who hired them. So, you definitely get the sense that he is not making that further conclusion, that somewhat obvious conclusion. I think without like a vibe check or anything, like you just know that he's not being truthful because you only beat him by a little bit. So,
I have a mental piece of paper here.
yeah, Arden will remember this. But yeah, I think, and then finally, I guess, Quinn, your tactics roll. Yeah, the guys that did this, if it was equal training, like with the force that they had to deal with, should not have succeeded. Like, even with the element of surprise, they were very much outnumbered, and they still won. These guys are good. Like, these guys were good, I should say. Tactics-wise, they're using pretty standard tactics. It's, they're taking the enemy's weapons. You can actually see some weapons that were sabotaged that they couldn't arm themselves with in the armory. So, like, don't leave enemy ordnance in the field. A lot of very, like, classic military-type tactics. Which mercenaries tend to do. They tend to be ex-military in some kind. Or they don't stick around for very long. And someone of this level, these guys, there's no way they didn't have some kind of military training. I think you recognize older tactics too of like how they set up their firing line. At least you assume based on bullet holes and where certain bodies fell and stuff like that. But this was an ambush, and they were all very accurate, even with the enemy's weapons. Whoever did this was not screwing around. They got people who knew what they were doing, could do what they were doing, and yet definitely weren't from here. They were good with the guns, they were good with the swords, the throwing weapons. Any of the ones that were, I guess, directed at the defenders didn't do very well. The ones directed at them actually did very well. And that's enough for you to be like, nah, these guys weren't local, but they were good.
I think Quinn's gonna keep that to himself until he gets back to the cabin.
But yeah. If that's the end of the scene, then we can definitely skip back to the space on the boat and dinner and how you guys are gonna deal with some of this drama.
You want to possibly snag a break first as we're at the hour mark?
Ooh, we are at the hour mark, thank you. So we should get a break.
Let's do that real
Well,
quick then, and then we'll swing back.
Thank y'all
I was
for
ready to do
being
that,
around.
and I realized it was me.
Yeah. Thank y'all, Twitch, for being around, and we're gonna ask our stream manager to take us to break, and we'll see you in a bit.
We'll be right back.
Bye
Don't go
now.
anywhere. Cue that music, Chief. Let's do it.
Hey, everybody, we are back.
Gang shit, gang shit.
We are back. We had a bit of bouncing around scenes at the start of this. We had our Emotionmancer realizing that there's something up with our definitely boat historian. We had people deciding, are we going to fix the island? We had the captain deal with some new information and also just the information from last time. And we're coming in on a scene of, as it is now much later, and on a ship you sometimes have meals at odd hours, and it's been a long day and you had to get here in time. Quinn, as soon as you were done with the vault, you and V started cooking. You probably pulled like one or two people in to help with certain things that like you just need a second adult-sized person to help with, but mostly you and V can handle most things. And so I would like to know, as everyone's sort of sitting down isn't really a thing on a ship, but you do have like a table you bring out to the top deck and set everything down. What'd you make? Give us a flavor.
At the flick of the wrist.
So, the ship has, I would imagine, one of those long tables that can basically fit the whole crew.
Yeah, it's more if it's the food that feeds the crew. Again, a lot of people don't really sit down to eat on a pirate ship.
Yeah.
Or any ship, but...
Yeah. So, I think, there's just a bunch of crab. Like, the big one that, that Beanie came in with just had so much that of just plain meat, shells, everything. There's like crab cake stacked in a corner. You've got like crab cornbread muffins that are stacked in the opposite corner. There's like there in the middle is just a giant like seafood hot pot in the middle where just people like just come in and just pick up whatever they want, right? Like it's like basically like a bubbling pot of sauce that people can just go pluck in the meat. There's you've got like crab beignets, there's crab rangoons, there's just crab everything. You can see like crab empanadas at some point, right? There's like then there's like another stack for the people who don't really like want there's crab sandwiches. And then like off to the corner there's like a small experimental dish of polyp jelly mixed in with like some of the random fruits that this got. There's even one with the weird candied onions and slices in there.
You still got some of those left. Yeah.
They're left over. Like, why not? Just toss them in, right?
I would love for you to roll some cooking, especially to see if the more experimental stuff is pulled off.
Alrighty. Okay. Let's see. What did we get? What is it? 14 plus. I'm gonna go ahead and spend 2 points on that.
All right. Yeah. It works really well. You have some notes like for yourself, but you're the only one who's like really super good at cooking. I guess the captain also has helped at times and so has opinions on cooking.
Look at
So
her
you
wrist.
two are probably the yeah. That's what he needs is just a little more flick of the wrist when you're mixing that whatever thing you were mixing with the whisk. I don't know. Hey, he said it. That was the thing. Anyways, yeah, you guys have some notes, but everyone else is like, oh, it was really good. Even the Jello, like, I think V doesn't normally enjoy Jello, but still enjoyed everything except for the one with the candied onions in it. Still not touching that. But it's more the candied onions than the Jello. He did a pretty good job. And yeah, I think morale generally improves, and I did design the cooking skill that, like, if you were cooking for people who didn't already like you, they like you a little bit more when you do well. So the only ones who would be like that would be Ozturk, who already thought you were somewhat intimidating but has warmed up to you, and then the rest of the players who can decide how they feel about you, but just know that makes a real good crab dish. Real good crab
Weird
dish.
for real, but it's cool.
So while you guys are sitting down, because there are chairs for this, a mismatch of like chairs and stools, and sometimes just like a big block of wood that someone has decided is their seat, stuff like that. One of the crew that I don't think you know the name of has some sort of crystallization magic that they just like make crystals out of the air and sit on it, and like that's their chair. It breaks at one point because they're not super good at it, but they just make it again. So I think at some point in the dinner, I'm going to copy a URL to a song and put it in our show chat in the Discord, which you should always join if you're not in there. But Dino takes out a mandolin and then thinks better of it, and then asks the first mate to borrow his guitar and starts playing. It's a very sad song. It's a very what we'd call bluesy. And for those of you who aren't really aware what the captain is doing, which is I guess all of you, it seems weirdly aggressive isn't the right word, but it seems like it's talking about something like a revolution, and you're like,
We get a vibe switch up from the Sirenscape BT dubs. That'd be super, super lit.
Yeah, I just don't know if we have something that fits exactly that.
Probably not. Yeah. That's my fault.
We're gonna try this.
Not bad. It's a little more. Yeah, I like it. It's a little more adventurous.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, as much as it's a sadder, bluesier song, it seems energizing to a lot of the crew, and that's sort of the space you guys are in right now.
And the captain's probably head of the table, because, well, he's the captain, obviously. So, head of the table, big plate of various crab and other seafood dishes. He's just taking big handfuls of and shoving into his gullet without much grace or poise. He's kind of he's normally a bit jovial when hanging around with the crew, but he's kind of just focused, staring at the table right now. Acknowledges you all as you all come in, obviously, but mostly just sits there, quietly eats, moves his head a bit to the music, but doesn't really engage too much unless he's engaged.
I think Bhavani is sitting next to you and is also very politely eating next to you, almost in contrast to your style of eating, but in a similar sort of engaging with the crew when engaged with, making comments, stuff like that. She's using silverware, but
I'm using fingerware.
Thingies.
Hey,
Anyways,
please don't make that sound again, and please don't ever say that again.
no fingies or no fingerware.
Yes.
Also, Vio definitely saw Captain Dre do that and is just copying Dre, and Quinn is just no.
Good kid.
Yeah. Vio gets one handful and then you're like, and it's hits it before. And Vio knows how to be extremely polite. The environment Vio grew up in was a nobility kind of situation, and just almost sarcastically, politely, small bit. When you're not looking.
I love him so much. My favorite little child.
I guess just for flavor, because this is not a question in my mind. Is there like a specific piece of clothing, Dre, that you wear that's like especially piratey outside of like a captain's hat? Like a, I don't know, sash, jacket.
I mean, well, he does have a sash he wears about his pants, definitely, like a crimson red sash. To
Yeah,
go
yeah,
with
yeah.
His hair, obviously. Other than that, he does have like a patch that goes over his eye. It's not like it's not because his eye is damaged. He has a scar over it, but the eye is functional. But he does keep a patch over it when he feels like he has to.
Yeah, I think Vio has gotten a similar sash as like, this is the captain and is cool.
I like this kid more.
And so
and
it's
more
like
every day.
the same sash, like worn in exactly the same way.
I like this kid more and more.
Vio just thinks you're cool. Anyways, space is yours, sorry.
Where's everybody else at? Where's the rest of the gang?
Yeah, where are y'all sitting?
Quinn
Probably
is
just in the
currently
middle
s-
somewhere,
Oh, sorry. No, you go first.
Okay, probably in the middle somewhere. Just doesn't really. They don't really care like where they sit in terms of like status or anything. It's just okay. Here's a free chair. I sit.
I think Quinn's like taking care of the hot pot in the middle, making sure like everything's getting turned over. The spices are always renewed, right? That's just like where Quinn is currently in the middle, probably across from Beanie actually.
And yeah, I think Arden, one of the crew members, the one that does crystal magic, actually like moves their chair over, introduces themselves as Nina, and is just sort of trying to make polite conversation.
You should go, Nina.
Nina is Chuck, is her name.
Sorry.
ISHDHUK.
Also, low-key fucking hate that song.
But yeah, that's sort of the scene there. What about the rest of y'all?
I'm since I don't eat, I'm basically just following Ozturk around. And every time he sits down, I'm just like, oh, that's my chair.
Why?
Fuck this nerd, that's why.
Okay.
Don't bully the poor man.
This isn't truly evil. You don't have to do this.
I think that after like the third time, he gets that you're messing with him and then sits down. But it takes until the third time.
We here at Neon Lights Roleplay approve of bullying nerds.
Hey.
It builds character.
We do not.
These times we have to teach you this lesson, old man.
Like, gets the first chair, you're like, that's my chair. He gets the second one, that's my chair. And the third one, he's like, I see. Gentle, friendly ribbing. Very funny, and then he sits down.
It's a joke,
but
yes.
really, that's my chair.
You may sit in one of the other two chairs that are apparently your chairs.
Ozturk, can you fly?
I cannot.
Then I would suggest you get out of my chair.
First mate Cantoni is sitting in one of the other two chairs that were your chairs. He's right there. Baldhead just looks over. Food in
That's
mouth.
Cantoni.
Goes back.
Are you gonna stand up to Cantoni? Have you seen his knife?
Reese, Dre says without looking up. Let the man sit. I need you up here anyway.
Fine. This isn't over, old man.
He bemusedly looks around as you leave, like just stuttering for a bit, and then Cantoni sits in the chair next to him, the second chair that you said was yours, and just like, it's all right, man. He does that. It's fine. Anyways,
Actually, yeah, Dre will even just follow up. Just like, actually, look around at any other crewmates that aren't, well, PCs and or Bhavani, who are sitting around him, and just clear out and look around. And then just Arden, Maxwell, Oliver, Quinn, come here.
I think what you mean, like clear out, they just sort of like move farther down the table. Most of the crew don't really sit down anyways, so they're just kind of like getting food and eating somewhere else.
Oh yeah. I mean, the intention wasn't like get out. It was just like give space
Yeah.
for these people to sit near me.
But yeah, Danil like doesn't eat on the deck even. It's always in the rigging. That's just like where she lives most of the time. So she just swoops down, grabs a plate, goes back up to playing.
Quinn's gonna like just have just Vio is like just like Vio points at the pot.
That can't go poorly, I'm sure.
You.
Vio
Ever
basically
seen
is
a kid
after-
try
as
to
soon as you're
like,
not
pour
looking.
orange juice or like milk?
Mhm.
Like, oh,
It's just
Oh no.
so poorly.
No, I think that you would be surprised as you see this small child. Like, as soon as, obviously, Quinn's not looking, using hands now to eat again, but does, like, use the spoon that's in there and has to, like, stand on the table and, like, lean over, but does stir it, and then goes and has some food, and then, like, stirs it periodically, and is weirdly precise for a small child.
I love
Like-
a small child so much.
Vio is careful, I think, is the thing you'd get. Like, just a careful individual about what they do, or even say sometimes. Even when they're acting like a audacious pirate captain. Anyway, you're seen at the top of the table.
But yeah, just as the group kind of gathers up and sits down, just what do we got?
I got my old journal. I don't know that it's going to be any of help to you, but you're more than welcome to read it if you really want to.
Fascinating. Appreciate it. Rest of you? Details, information, something useful?
Well, as far as I can tell, whoever hired those guys, those mercenaries, they were too good. Mercs were. They shouldn't have won.
Yeah, I got that feel. Makes sense. Rest of you got any read on that?
I imagine Arden
Maybe
looks directly
glance.
at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
might just small glance.
Can I roll to notice this small glance? Because that'd be real helpful.
I would like to see if
Small
Maxwell
glance,
does anything about that small
Yeah.
glance first.
We'll see if he
but-
says anything.
Yeah, if I'm giving a small, I'll just say what I said before. I don't know that they were mercenaries per se.
Go on.
Well, they're just all dressed so different. I mean, you've been on a pirate ship.
Yep.
There's at least 3 people that look like they're wearing similar clothes, right?
Usually.
But none of the bodies had the same. They were all different.
So if they weren't mercenaries, they were...
Pretending to be?
Anything else?
Most definitely not local.
Yeah, got that read already.
Ostrick is like stayed at the edge of the group because he wasn't necessarily mentioned, but he thinks he needs to be involved. He's like, well, I have refined the location that they mentioned after charting geological movements and stuff, and he does have his notebook with like a map in it. He goes like the double-page map. Like, I'll have to show you in more detail on the larger map, and he points to a spot. If we're lucky, this is outside the sort of radius of the mining facilities, and we won't have to do anything drastic to get in. I somehow doubt that they will let your ship inside of their mining operation, and I'm a tad wary of us academics going in without you, considering the trouble we had getting here. But if we're lucky, we won't have to do that to find out what the secret was, the discovery.
And if we aren't, I'll ask nicely.
Ostrick doesn't comment on that. Like, his mouth opens to say something. He's like, he doesn't.
Smart boy.
Ostrick, if anything goes wrong, I can always build you a glorious new body. Like, don't, like, you can
Oh, great.
shed
He's on this again?
the weak flesh of humanity and become an amazing automaton like I am.
Yeah, Ostrick, we can finally look young again.
Damn it, Tin Man, marbles.
Uh,
What else is for?
yeah, I think one of the crewmates who's like walking by, her name's Aisha. She has like a mechanical leg that you have built, and is like, yeah, this is working better than my real one. Just gotta say. And she like walks by.
Look, sparkling testimony. Like,
Okay, you can play Hacksaw some other time. That's wonderful. Much more importantly than that, anything else? We know the heart's damaged and it's why this is happening. We got any read on that?
Speaking of the heart, I mean, if this conversation's basically over, I'm gonna head back to work. I'm trying to, fix it to some degree.
And you thought that wasn't news worth sharing?
Fix it or not.
No,
We'll see.
you just thought you'd make that call for us, like everyone else did.
I mean, there's a lot on this continent that I thought would be worth saving, or at least
And
worth.
who does it belong to?
I mean, personally, I don't really care. Like, I hear you, but also, I'm just here to see about these medals.
I mean, Captain, do you want the logical answer, or do you want the current answer? Because logically, this island
Please pick your
belongs
next words carefully.
to your people. But if you want to think about it right now, if we don't do something, everything here is going to belong to the IIT.
I hate it when you're right. I shouldn't have snapped at you like that. It wasn't your fault. It's been a day.
Get it? I'm also not good with words, Comes with the whole sitting in a room researching all day.
Tell you what, you get this hard thing figured out somehow, some way, and whenever we get out of this mess, I'll take you to a bar. Just me and you. First round's on me.
Well, as long as I haven't, blown myself up and turned into another Tin Man like this guy over here.
Might make you slightly more handsome. Maybe increase your chances.
Would maybe this bald head doesn't. It's not great.
I don't know if it's shiny and metal. Well, anyway,
I could make you hair. Like, I can synthesize some hair, use some like wires. It'll look like, yeah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Some marbles won't be baldy anymore.
okay. Besides your plastic surgery, which I'm sure is wonderful, so we know where we're going to. We just don't know what's there. We got a plan?
I'll check again. Well, it's very likely some similar facility. The man who wrote it is a doctor. That's what should be in the area.
We think it's
Research
occupied?
probably. Unlikely. If the secret is still there, then no one has been there in a long time. I can't imagine whatever the secret is. It's not something people would share immediately.
Grace sits on that for a second, kind of still looking at the table, just... Gun's hot anyway. I want the cannons prepped by the morning.
Yeah, we've been told before. No telling if anyone's gonna try and tell us again. Or if there are any traps. I hate traps.
Speaking of, are we sure there's nothing else worth sharing? I'll speak plainly, cuts his eyes to Ozturk. Someone tried to lie to me once tonight again, already. Someone tries it again, I murder them.
Ozturk, who's been put on the spot, like, Captain, I can and should apologize not presenting the whole picture. You're right, it is very likely it's not internal. Just as an academic, I can't commit to an absolute without knowing. And if the secret we find is not some sort of internal politicking, some sort of reason why someone would sink their own continent, then you will have been absolutely right. Just forgive an old academic for not wanting to be hasty in their judgment.
Bygones.
Rubs his face a little because there's still like a bruise there. Sure.
think Quinn's gonna like spit like politicians, like just politicians, and then spit to the side.
Well,
Behind you, a little V. Politicians.
no disagreement here.
Would my
That's the
journal
good influence.
not have? Would my journal not have notes on what might have happened, or would that have happened like after me?
You're looking at the dates, and you're trying to remember. And I'm going to use your previous like history roll, or you can roll again if you want maybe something better. But you don't know the exact date that like this place was attacked, because that happened while you were under.
Okay.
But it's cutting it close, honestly. The last entry in this journal, which is the farthest forward journal you have found, is it's cutting it close to when it might have happened. If you want to roll history, I might be able to give you more.
Let's see. Well, that's my history. 15.
15. If you can have a point for that, it's fine. Yeah, so adding a point to 16. I like the idea, if you don't mind, that you like said that out loud. Is like, when did this happen? If you agree to that, I think Ozturk will like pipe up.
Yeah, I'll as I'm like flipping through various pages, trying to like find something to see if there's anything that might lend insight into the situation more. I will be like, when did this happen?
And he's like, oh, well, it's in this year. And he names off a year for like an archaic calendar. Like, we've effectively hit a year 0 somewhere, not necessarily because of the continent, but just after. There was a pretty big like political conflict war that happened a bit after the Wandering Continent became the Wandering Continent, possibly kind of caused by the political turmoil of it. It's like, well, and it was in the summer, end of July, possibly. And as you're looking at your journal, this is from the same year, but like May, March is like when the last entries are. You were not a super great journalist, and so the dates are only for like the personal ones. All of your like technical sketches are between that you assume was on the individual days between that.
Okay.
So it's in the same year.
Well, I don't have anything too helpful in here, other than, you know, I was around that same year, but I don't remember what happened.
You are getting more specific memories from that time, though, so you can like picture where you were and what you were doing.
I mean, from like, I remember being here. I remember working with the scientists on different metallurgy, and I also remember trying and not doing a very good job at studying some local species on how to contain aether so that I could build this body. My recollection is that I went down, so I was gone about the same time that this conflict would have happened.
How old are you, dude?
I didn't build in a counter. I didn't want, you know, a millennium to take over and then for my systems to shut down. So I'm Y2K compliant, if you want to look at it that way.
Trey cracks a kind of like cocks his eyebrow a bit and just, so you don't know?
I don't.
Cracks a weird smile. Neither do I.
Yeah,
Maybe when this
be
is all
some
said
sort of
and
year.
done, we'll figure out a birthday.
I usually just guess.
I get the feeling, Dre, that you spent 1 year having a birthday every day just for the hell of it.
Probably.
As a side note, that adds a lot of flavor to you being like, oh yeah, my birthday. That's this like mythical event in our culture. You're like, no,
Yeah.
you just chose that.
Yeah, that's entirely what it was. You just picked it.
And yeah, Reese, you, unfortunately, a lot of your memory from before you made it to the island, because you haven't found too many journals from before then, are very vague. So you're like, I don't know. you would guess you were like probably in your 30s-ish. You're definitely not 20. You're definitely not a child. So anywhere between like 30 and 40, probably when the island went down. So easily over 150.
I said $150. God damn. I'm in turtle age up here. Jesus.
Certainly has the shell of one.
Damn. Fight back.
Back.
Fight back.
He can't. He's on his back.
Now I just feel bad. Jeez, the turtle joke went too far.
Stop, he's already dead.
Oh.
I mean,
Fucking shoot me to 150. Jesus.
Technically. But what is life? Oster's, like, as you guys are sort of ribbing Reese, Oster's like, well, actually, I'm interested, Reese. What? Maybe, may I look at your journal as well? I don't want to intrude.
You're more than welcome to take a look. I don't know if you can discern anything. I mean, for me, it really brings into light how I could, repair myself or, build you guys new bodies if we need to. There's a lot of information on that, but as for, the transhuman revolution, unfortunately, like, I would have thought that this would have insight into the beginnings of that, and unfortunately, it's just not there.
If you handed it over, I think he's like looking through the journal as you say this. And he does sort of start from the back, actually. And he's, well, I don't know about that, but some of the names of the scientists you've mentioned here are historically significant. It's possible that you were at the facility we're going to if you were studying metallurgy, and that's what our people are known most for.
I mean, I wouldn't know the significance of these names. Like I said, I remember a little bit, but not enough to know how historically significant any of this is.
And yeah, he like asks you for details on like appearance and mannerisms of some of these various scientists because you're sort of remembering them now, and he makes notes because those are like significant to him. But that's all he can really say about that.
Okay.
And yeah.
I mean, for that, I'll just pull him aside, and we can just talk about the scientists.
Oh, yeah, he sits next to you, and he's just taking notes. He's not like trying to occupy the table.
Again, having said that, is there anything else that needs to be shared?
Well, I figured out how to use some of our homemade moonshine as a fancy word, anesthetic. Just in case any of us gets injured.
Fascinating. Well, if there's nothing else to be shared, gets very serious and looks at you all. And you all know what happens if I find out you're lying to me, right?
Oster rubs the side of his face a little bit, but doesn't say anything.
I get to experiment on them?
Breaks into a happy smile and just, let's drink.
It's like, don't make me pull out the good stuff.
Oh no, absolutely the good stuff. I need it.
All right, fine. Quinn's gonna go off and like find the like. There's like
good
rum,
stuff.
and then there's like the good stuff.
I think Denali, who sort of let you guys have your conversation, is like in her office, and that's where the good stuff is. And you probably stole it from like a much nicer ship. It's like some really fancy rums and wines and things that are like real good.
Shelf type shit.
And she comes out to have a nice drink with you. The scene I would like to see, though, is sort of separate of this, and Oliver, you can say otherwise, but I imagine you and Reese and Ozturk maybe drink a little bit, but you very quickly decide, no, we're going to go back to this core.
You are ordered to have at least one drink.
Quinn will be accommodating and
has
pick the one with the least amount of alcohol in it.
Ozturk reaches for something that he thinks is light, and then Quinn, you like move his hand to something that actually is light, so he's not like wasted. He's like, thank you.
Wouldn't that be fun to see?
I do need to help them with possibly restoring our continent, or at least fixing it a little.
I'll leave you all to it. The point I was just trying to get at was people keep talking about us like we're dead. I don't like looking at it that way.
Very true. Yeah, I'd like to have the scene then as you guys, the three of you. I think maybe you take someone with you just as like a second set of protection. Mostly Osterk asks for someone else to come with because he's like, I'm a little worried. Which could be one of the other players if you want to be involved. But you head back to this core, and I would love what I've kind of called a complex roll. I haven't really written a lot of rules about it, but it's going to be 3 rolls, and we're going to sort of average out the full success based on that. So before I describe stuff. And I would prefer if it is some kind of mental knowledge roll, but it could be like a sciencey thing. Whatever you think would work for trying to figure out this puzzle.
So I think on my end, it would probably be like looking at it. I'd probably be looking at the matter formations. I'd be looking for any complex shapes, and in this case, the scars and what's carved into the heart, and then probably trying to reformat, like so molecular reformation.
Yeah, and this is just the knowledge, so you can spend points on this, but it's not like channeling. You don't have to worry about that kind of blowback.
Explosive kind.
And I think just
The boomy kind.
And I think that as you like consider this, Ozturk is like trying to sort of sketch it out, the both of you using like very technical document, like engineering kind of sketching. And so you're going to add an extra +2 to this as he's adding sort of his just knowledge of the island to it.
6 is 18. You said +2?
Yeah,
So that's a
effectively
20.
a cooperative roll.
20.
20, all right. I still need 2 more rolls that either of you can do or cooperate on. You're starting to get an idea of the shape of this. It can be the same thing or it can be another thing.
I'll let Oliver take a set of rolls here.
All right. Let's see. So really, I'm just gonna roll and try to see if I can get a feel for, because I could feel the aether flowing through the heart last time when I put my palm on it. And this time I'm just gonna try to see if I can like get a gauge
better sense of
for
that.
yeah, the flow, and if there's like any sort of problems with that I can fix.
Yeah, I feel like this is aether charging and is using will, probably.
Okay.
Or, no, awareness. Sorry. Awareness is more of this.
And I'm adding 2?
Well, I don't know that
Oh, no, nobody
Oster
can
can
help
help
me
with this.
Yeah. In that case,
Well, I'm going to say, Reese, if you want to try and help him channel this, it's not really your magic, but I'd be interested to see what you think you could, if you think you could help with that. Like, what's your vibe with this magic that you do? Is it similar enough?
Not having been able to talk to Oliver a lot about his particular magic, just trying to get like a base understanding. I think I could lend insight into what he might be able to do, but I don't know that like I could help him channel.
Well, yeah, I'd actually love for you two to, like, in character. What does the magic feel like to you? How's it doing? Like, describe your magic to each other, I guess, to try and reach that understanding.
so what's up, Reese?
All right. Largely, if I place my hands here and I concentrate and channel my aether, I can help reform these scars. We might be able to even buff out some of these scars and make it a better bit of growth to help speed along, the healing of this core. I'm not 100% positive on how your magic works or what you're channeling. But if we can find a way to, I don't know, like hold hands and sing Kumbaya, we might be able to intertwine our magic and really give this thing the charge that it needs.
It's funny that you put it that way, because really what I'm doing when I put my hand on this is not necessarily integrating myself into the flow of aether, but just kind of like sending my own little bits of aether in to kind of feel for how they flow through this heart, right? And so essentially I found a couple of channels where it's obviously not taking the right path, where it's kind of going around some of these scars, whereas it feels like it's supposed to be going across them. So if we could kind of fix this together, I think that would help a lot. Here, I can even, and I'll just like kind of touch them with my other hand. You see what I mean? And I'll like kind of flow a bit of my aether through.
So if you can use your aether to guide my aether to those channels that aren't flowing properly, we should be able to restructure those so that they do flow like they should.
Oh, so what you're saying is I'll bring your aether to the spot, and then you can fix it with your magic to get the heart's aether flowing the right way.
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that. That sounds good.
I would love to see Reese do something with, I know you're not good at awareness, but something like insight awareness. And you get high enough, I'll let you add your 3 in awareness to Oliver's roll. Oliver, just roll your charge ring right now, and we'll just see if you get the +3.
Sure.
Also, while we're rolling, can I jump in and say that I really just I super love that little just like magic science technology like thing that just happened right there. That was really fucking cool. Like y'all, I love that from both of y'all. That was great. Like super snaps. That was awesome. Just give him flowers today. Everyone gets flowers today, okay? Everyone, that's great. I love you all a lot.
I got a 17.
Ooh, big numbers.
What'd you get, Reese?
I got a 13.
A 13. Okay. Yeah, comedic success. I think, Oliver, you can add 2 to that roll, so that's at a 19, which is definitely high enough to like be a success. We will need one more roll, but I think, yeah, Reese, you get a sense for what he means when he gives that charge. It's still kind of conceptual, but you do feel like the sort of metal bones in your body that conduct more. You can feel the charge running through those differently. So you do have the sense of like, all right, things that conduct better are where I will be, I guess, fixing or moving things. And then one more roll, either of them, we don't have to play it out as much. I think for this one, and this is like you actually, like maybe not attempting it on the heart, but like combining this magic, both roll your magic, both add your bonus in magic to each other's roll. Because I do like what you just did there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Reese, you're adding 3.
It's
Oliver,
touching
you're adding
magics.
2.
So that would give me an 18.
Another 19. I don't know. I did the math again.
Same numbers. Anyways, yeah. I like the flavor that maybe you like, Oliver, you take one of your marbles and you both just like attempt the thing you're about to do on that, just to get a sense of it. And you manage to create a pretty exact smaller model of the same, of like the sketch that you guys have made of what you think the heart is supposed to look like. And you look at it in 3D, and Ostrich is looking at it from like a historical perspective. You're both looking at it mechanically. It's really hard to know for sure if these channels match whatever like minerals and resonance in the continent that it is effectively levitating. But it seems accurate. Like it's plausibly accurate.
But that's kind of accurate.
Yeah. And Ostrich says, well, I mean, Oliver, if you think that fixing this is going to give us more time, both today and also bring the continent back sooner, I say we do it. And we, much as I normally like to share as much information as possible, if we can get the calculations done without outside help, it means that given 8 years or 6 years or much less time, we'll be the only ones that know that's when the continent's coming back up.
Yeah, could make us one of the only ones here, at least for a while.
Will give us a huge head start in fully fixing it.
Sure will. So let's do this.
And I really like that as the cliffhanger for we head to break.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Alrighty. Yep,
All right.
we're gonna head to break for a bit, and then we'll be back, and we will finish off the session. See you guys in a second.
Bye.
Hey, y'all. How's it going? I'm actually gonna mood change this just a little bit.
Hell yeah, switch it up a little bit.
I'm gonna put on coffee for two. There's a conversation happening.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
And I actually think in universe there's music at least similar to this, with like not really the synth obviously or like the piano in the background, but you know at this point both the first mate and Danil are just having a good time, just jamming as they tend to do when you guys are just chilling. I think even Bhavani has her own sort of small string instrument. It's probably more unique to like this world and culture, but something equivalent to like almost a violin. It's definitely like with a bow and a string. It's very elegant and very her. And they're just having a good time. Just some chill background music. And it's on the ship as the four of you who are still here, and you know any one of the crew who wants to join in, are having a nice drink. I think the crew are still like preparing stuff on the ship and starting to follow out your orders of making sure you're ready in case something happens, and also for tomorrow.
Damn right.
So they're not like drinking, but every once in a while someone like has a sip of something.
Yeah.
You know, you're not a military ship, it's fine.
It's all good. I ain't gonna begrudge it.
The scene is yours.
I think Maxwell's taking a sip of like a port or a whiskey or something. I think he'll kind of turn over to Dre and Arden. Oliver and Reese seem pretty set on fixing the island,
Say that again.
but I think they're more focused on if they can.
Hmm.
Do you think we should?
It's a different question.
Sure is.
I focus on why, so I think you guys are better to answer if we should or should not.
It would be quite a scientific marvel to be able to do it, but everything has consequences. You know, maybe the minerals themselves that we're looking for aren't going to be affected, but really any living thing probably will. Ecological conditions will change, they'll adapt, but I don't really want any to completely go away either. You know what I mean?
On the other hand, whatever bastards made this happen, and the similar bastards who have been exploiting these conditions and the people who it happened to for all this time, I'll keep it plain. I want as many of them dead as possible.
I fear if we stabilize the island, it's more likely the IATC is already here with plenty of ships. Just make it an easier colony.
And what if they weren't here? Say if something kicked them off.
Someone else might come to do the same thing.
We don't know if it's them or if it's some fucking,
What would kick them off?
well, political bastard.
Change. Change would kick them off.
Probably money too, as much as I hate to say it. They'll hire all sorts of folk to take care of things.
Well, we won't need to be paying anyone off. I don't think so. No, I think if things go to plan, someone somewhere will knock these bastards right on off this island. Hopefully for fucking good.
I mean, I kind of want Dre to either bluff if he doesn't want to imply heavily he's the bastard that's gonna do that. Or you can just let that implication, because I feel like it's a little obvious.
Hold on.
I'm gonna do that.
Not only am I gonna roll, I have a meme. Hold on.
Okay, we got the meme.
I'm gonna roll bluff first, which I don't have a lot of points in, but I got some. What am I looking for here?
Yeah. Dre seems like the
subtlety,
kind of
deceive?
person who's like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm going to dare you to call my bluff.
Exactly. So here's that. That's not a bad roll at all. 654 makes a grand total of, I can't do math right now, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's 19 with no points
Okay.
spent.
With that roll, I'll say that unless any of the players there think that they like would be suspicious of Dre to like do that,
I mean, he's
shouldn't
definitely got
roll
a look in
against
his eye. I'll give you that. Like,
yeah.
I feel like
Well, yeah, the thing is, it's not contested unless someone would be like, is he gonna like? Unless that question's in your character's mind, it's not contested, and he rolled very well. But
I feel like for Quinn, it's not even a question. It's just like, just Quinn
The
just
guarantee.
is like, I know this kid. He's gonna do something.
Would the fact that Maxwell knows that he sent people out?
it's enough, sure. I mean, it's up to you, man.
Alright, I'll contest. I don't think I'll probably beat it, but I think he's at least got an inkling that he's trying to do something like that, but I don't know if he thinks he's got something better in his pocket or something. So I'll roll for that at least. Yeah, it's not gonna be a 20, but it's like a 16.
I know. Did you spend points?
I didn't spend points. Let me count again. So I had a 12 plus 4, so 16. Yeah. I didn't spend points.
Because I got 19 and I can only spend a total of 3, but can't you spend 6?
He can do that when he's doing spycraft, and I don't know that this.
I can do it if I'm trying to protect myself from lies, essentially.
Okay, got it.
If I'm not seen through other people's lies.
In which case, then fair enough. Yeah, my 19 sticks.
But yeah, I mean, with a 16, you're still like suspicious. Like he doesn't dispel your suspicion.
Do something, but I don't think he's like, I'm going to be the one that's going to lead it. Or
Yeah.
That's the way I see it, if that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I want you guys to still have this space, but
It might be even easier if the island was just to disappear and not come back. Or to keep its cycle.
What makes you think that?
No one gets it.
It's like Quinn, I think, has an inkling of what you're talking about, but is not going to say anything about it.
Well, yeah, I see it.
I-
Whatever we do to this thing might throw the whole world into panic, cause a whole lot of upheaval. Maybe it damn well needs to.
From
I Bhavani was gonna speak up, but I was gonna let you have that space if you were gonna say something.
I was just gonna say, from knowledge of the IATC, they would find a way to exploit it in one way or another.
Bhavani is gonna speak up and say, well, this is true, but politics are a strange thing. If enough people decide they want this, enough of our dear captain's people, and there's enough of them here, my understanding, the island is going to go down no matter what we do, but you'd have time to organize to set up enough people to maybe be here and occupy when it comes back. Hopefully you can fully fix the island at that point, and I don't know. The IITC will want to be involved, but as long as they don't feel threatened by the creation of this, if you can work with them. I know that might be onerous to many of your people, Dre, but that would be the safest political way to reestablish a nation. A weaker one, but still one that exists.
Are there even any, like, just as a question, Lorist, but like, are there even any competitors to the IITC?
Yes and no. Other nations still exist and have their own politics. They're simply not the traders. The IITC is this sort of middle ground who the only reason that there hasn't been a lot of wars is they have managed to keep that balance of we are trading with everyone equally, you don't have to fight over that. It is now just political maneuvering. So other nations exist and are technically more powerful, just the IITC is the one who's involved in this. Other nations aren't sending warships here. They are building ships and maneuvering around each other and basically trying to bluff their way out of a war while capturing individual resources. And like on that note, I think Bhavani also mentions like, and important to note where the continent is and where it will appear next. We're not in any of the main currents, and it's not likely to be in one. You'll be a doldrum continent, which maybe makes things harder for trade, but does also make it harder to be invaded by other countries.
You know what? Now I got a question, Maxwell.
Yeah?
I'm getting from your vibe you think that, well, at least let's say, you're not settled on that we should fix this thing. You think maybe it's better left unsaid or unmolested?
I fear that the IATC has a lot of strength, and if this island is stabilized, it'll only grow theirs to an unstable level, an even more unstable level.
And again,
True.
that's assuming they're still on the island. More importantly, though,
I don't have a reason to think they wouldn't be.
and if someone disagrees with that
Pointed.
call, what are you gonna do about it?
I'm not making the call, that's why I'm asking you. I'm just here to take notes. I'm
Fair
not a
enough.
historian.
Just curious. Any case,
Interesting point.
you asked us for a reason.
Because the question wasn't being asked. As I said at the beginning, I'm here for why. And the question that has been asked is, can we?
I think we get the answer to why when we know how it happened, and more importantly, who did it.
If
That'll give
that's-
me my answer.
If that gives us why we, if that helps us decide if we should, then I'm for that.
Sounds like we're in accord then. Arden, you're awful quiet over there. You got anything to level?
I mean, I agree with all the points here. I just don't think I can articulate them better than what's already been said.
Question for you then. You got a sharp eye, pretty sharp mind, good read for people. If you were me, in this spot, right now, what would you do?
Hard to say. We don't have all the answers yet. It would be to find the answers, and based on what that tells us, then we act. Like you said, we don't know what exactly, well, we know basically what happened, but not the events leading up to it, and we don't know who did it.
Do you think at the end of the day, the answers to those questions won't necessarily change the probabilistic odds of what will happen if based of our decision that we make here? It will inform us, but I think we might be left with the same problem of if we raise it, what are the odds the IATC takes over anyways?
Tell you what, let's say we get our answers when we get to this place. And once we have them, this little trio reconvenes. Maybe let's talk again.
I'm fine with this.
If this is a weird thing to ask, and Lorist, feel free to cut in and tell me this is a bit I can't do, but Dre's gonna cut Maxwell a direct glance without saying anything. I want to see if Maxwell can get the meaning of it without and I kind of want you to give me a roll, and depending on how high this is, I'll give you general
I have a
vibe.
thing for this, don't I? I feel like
Maybe,
I have
probably.
this. I have like a
You
thing
do for picking it up.
Yeah.
This is gonna effectively be a cooperative role, and what I would love to do is.
Oh, no, so the thing
I
is,
didn't take it. I didn't take it. It's in the
No,
tree, but I didn't take it.
Here's the thing. It's not a cooperative role because I, as a player, am more of kind of the person who's saying I'm cool with you knowing this. Dre is more just kind of not he's not trying to give any implication to you. But there's very clear implication on his face. I'm trying to see how well Maxwell gets that implication to see whether I share it or not.
Okay. if you're trying to
Also
hide it,
allow
like
Arden
a-
to roll too, because that'd be fun drama.
yeah, if you're trying to if this is a subconscious decision, like this movement, and you're trying to hide it, then it would be some kind of deceive. But if it's if Drake kind of wants him to get it, but not really, then I think that this is just a flat check on their side, and you don't roll for something.
I think
But I
I
would
would
also
also
love-
side.
Yeah. But yeah, either of you, it would probably be some kind of notice or insight.
Okay.
Unless you want to vibe check the captain.
No.
I know.
Okay, use a roll.
I'm giving consent. I gave consent.
I know, but I'm still like.
I know. I know. I'm messing with you. You're fine.
Okay,
Please
that's
keep your comfort.
a shockingly average roll.
Uh-oh.
4s across the board.
Yeah, well, a 4 and 2 3s.
I got 2 4s
Um,
and a 3.
Hey.
Okay, hold on. We'll have to add.
I had
things, though.
15, so I'll definitely spend a point to go
Go full success.
up to full success.
Well, Arden, do the math right now, and I'll describe the thing, and we'll talk about how much of it you get depending on your thing. But I
Yeah,
guess
I'll
Dre will
spend
describe
a
the
point.
thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just have to spend 1 point to do a full success. So.
Yeah, all right. Then, Dre, what's the implication here?
It's pretty simplistic. By reconvene, Dre means when we have more info, we have this talk again. If your mind hasn't changed, I'm shooting you.
Oh, okay.
It was really weird.
Or probably
because
more
I feel like-
accurately, if you're not for me, then
Well,
Gotcha.
it's okay. I should be more direct. It's not necessarily he's like, I don't trust you. It's more like I have a very clear set idea on what I think should happen here. Bar something drastically altering that, I know what I'm doing. If I decide to do the thing that I'm doing and you have any hesitation around that, I'm removing you from the equation. It's just very much like I'm set on this. You should not think about getting in my way.
Okay.
It's effectively him saying like, I'm getting the vibe that you're thinking something that you're not sharing. I don't know what it is and I'm not gonna ask. If it gets in my way, I'm removing you. That's basically all he's saying.
and it is to Maxwell specifically.
Yes.
So Arden, you're not threatened by this as much as you know that a sort of threat has been made.
Mm-hmm. Ah.
Yeah. I would like then, unless there's something else that like Quinn wants to add, because I feel like Quinn, you might just know the captain enough to you don't get that implication, but you know that's how he operates probably. Bhavani is also sitting there and watching with interest. I also rolled for her, and you guys don't get to know.
I think Quinn and Vio's still, attending the hot pot. Like Quinn just looks over, walks past, and I think gives Dre a bit like a pat on the shoulder, just like Captain.
He broke it.
Whatever you want to do, crew's here for you. Just be careful. This isn't just about you. It's about your whole people.
I need you all to stop making a habit of being right.
I love that line to then switch over to our science trio. You think effectively recreated this heart, or at least the model you have is like the one that's most likely to let it finish fixing itself. And I think Ozturk looks at it and he sort of checked it over. You guys have checked it over, and it's like, all right, this seems doable. The only question is now, later, we have possibly a few weeks before we would have the last chance this time to do it. But doing it earlier will possibly reduce the amount of time it's under the Aether. The longer we wait, the more downward momentum this thing gains.
Let's do it now.
Yeah, it's now or never, Doc.
He looks very nervous, but is also not the kind of person who pushes back against men of action. He's just,
Oh dear.
could we get the doctor? Not the doctor, the medic? Quinn? Or should we just... And he's trying to push back as much as he can because he is a little worried y'all are about to explodify yourselves.
Ozturk, and I put my hand on his shoulder. I love you, bud, but this is happening. Like, now.
You've talked about exploding buildings, and I would like to remind you and let Reese know that is why you were ejected from the college, was an actual exploded building. That wasn't a metaphor.
Look, exploding buildings are a sign of a genius. So,
I don't know that I... Oh dear. And he's like gonna let you do it, he's just backing up. And yeah, this is, as I explained to my players beforehand and just for chat, they're both gonna roll, and they both are doing a cooperative roll, but there are consequences kind of separately for them depending on the roll, and they are aware of this. And you as characters are aware, this is not gonna be pleasant. But it's doable.
Right.
So I'd like to see those rolls and a little flavor based on those rolls, or even before, of like how you were preparing for this, so I know how to.
I mean, I'm just putting my entire like willpower and effort into trying to make this heart into. I mean, obviously we can't make it perfect, but as close to the simulation as we had achieved, with the goal like, what happens to me doesn't matter as much as that nothing goes wrong with the heart.
Ooh, I do like that flavor.
yeah, I've just kind of accepted, hey, if this body goes, this body goes. But we might be able to do some good here. And I have just like full on just kind of like FMA'd it. So I've like clapped my hands together and just thrown them onto the heart.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the position you guys have to take, is basically opposite sides of that and both touching it, as you're just pouring as much as you can into it without interfering with each other's charge. And yeah, Reese, you're basically being guided here, but it's more like, Oliver, you're making very specific parts more conductive as much as possible for what he is doing. And what's the rolls?
All right, so that plus that. Is this cooperative? Am I adding?
Yeah. You're
Okay.
adding 2. Oliver and Reese, you're adding 3.
6, 3, 6, that's 12, 15. I will put all 3 of my points in there as well. So that's an 18 plus another 3.
I got an 18.
19.
21?
21.
19 and 21.
Okay, yeah.
Neither
And
of
that's-
you... Oh, finish it.
That's me pumping all of my MP into that as well. So
So yeah, neither of you before this moment would have been able to describe what it's like to wrestle with a mountain, or like try and hold back like gravity itself. But you get a sense of it. You both channel into it, and this heart is just so full of aether. You taste ozone, and your teeth feel like they're buzzing out of your skull. I guess for you, Reese, it's more like your various nuts and bolts and parts that hold you together almost feel like they're trying to leave you. However it is that you get sensation, the field that animates your body, you can feel almost vibrate and almost try and disintegrate. And you both hold things together as best you can, riding this wave. And Reese, you rolled higher, so I'm giving you a choice. You can feel that this power is going to hurt, and it's going to cause some damage that maybe isn't as easy to fix as like taking a rest and getting the doctor to stitch something up. And you can pull more of the backlash towards you, or you can share it evenly.
in this case, since it will probably take me some time to refine and build parts for Oliver, I will pull the damage. Like I'll pull that backlash.
Okay. I like that. Oliver, you feel this energy course through you, and you probably don't notice that more of it's been pulled away. But your hands, whichever one is touching it, or both, the raw energy rips along your arms, and now there's these just lightning bolt-like lacerations up your arm, and you've taken only one harm, or like one injury that you can't reduce with points. There's rules for that, we'll go over that, but this is a very like fixable injury from our Sawbones Quinn. Reese, you pull more into you, and because you've been putting your hands here, and your hands are designed to like channel the aether that you, I guess not really breathe in, even if it's a similar sensation. Like you basically have lungs designed just for that, for bringing in aether to do magic. Both of your hands just explode. One of them, and you can pick which one, up to your elbow. As you've taken 2 serious injuries that you're gonna have to try and repair, and you're gonna need help.
Okay.
As a peek behind the curtain, I rolled 2 die, and one of you got the lower of the 2 because of your decision, Reese. And so that's how that works. And there's this loud bang, and both of you kind of white out for a second as just the sensation of too much power rolls over you. And Reese, you regain consciousness as Oliver and Ozturk are like leaning over you. You can see the sort of material that is your forearms on which hand do you decide gets the most obliterated?
Probably my right hand.
So yeah, you don't have anything below the joint there. In fact, like the screws that hold your elbow together and the bolts have just flown around. Ozturk even has like a bit of a cut on his arm because some of your bits have impaled themselves in him. And he doesn't seem bothered at all because he is deeply worried about you. And then yeah, your left hand, it's just like the bones of your forearm or the metal bits are still there. It's just the part where it becomes to your wrist, to your hand is sort of not functioning and mangled, but still mostly there.
So like, did we do it?
You see the heart, and for the first time, the like craggy parts that it was trying to do to protect itself have cleared, and it's rotating slowly. There's still definitely scars, and you can see light coming from them as it's inefficiently creating this aether and is like sort of bleeding light as a result. But it's sustained under its own power, and it is now actively pulling in significantly more aether from sort of the tubes and vents below it. And yeah, you think you got it.
I think next time, Oliver, we need like 2 more people.
2 more, yeah. Although, I think we're gonna have a bit of a hard time finding 2 more confident people in our group.
That's fair.
Ozturk's like, you're missing your hands, and that's the thing. We can hire somebody. If this is amazing, and you're missing your hands. And he is oscillating between amazement and like a little bit of terror because he still processes you as like having normal bits. He doesn't really think of you as like a robot person, and he's like, you can see he's like worried. Are you bleeding? Is this going to kill you? And you know you're not fine, but you're not dying. You're just very injured.
It's just gonna take some time. I'll have to rebuild some parts, but I mean, it gives me opportunity to build in some enhancements, reinforce some things, and definitely make my bat swing a little bit stronger. So that'll be fun. But you're bleeding quite a bit there. We should probably get you back to the ship.
Yeah, soon, and I'll kind of hide my hands behind my back. Yeah, it's not the worst injury I've had experimenting. But, speaking of reinforcement, reinforcing.
Oh, sorry, finish.
Yeah, speaking of reinforcing, and I look around, are there any pieces of the heart that like came off when we did the magic?
I'm gonna say yeah. Like I think you'd notice the heart is marginally actually smaller. Like as you rebuilt it, you did have to sort of shave some bits off and repurpose some bits
Right.
in places. And so there is almost like a thin part of a shell that has clattered against the wall. Like you didn't notice because both of you were basically insensate the moment it happened. But
Mhm.
you got some natural heart steel there.
See that piece over there, Reese?
Yeah.
You think we'd have a better chance of, your arms not being blown off if you, made them out of that?
It's very possible. If we're conducting the energy at the same resonance as the heart, and I'm using a piece of the heart to transfer that resonance, yeah, I think we could pull that off.
Ostrich sits in stunned silence as you guys immediately think about the next time, as he's still like worried you're gonna die of like oil loss or something. But you haven't said you're fine. He's still like, you're in shock.
Doctor, I think you're a little bit hysterical. Let's get you back to the ship. Let's get you a nice stout drink, and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah, I'll grab those pieces and I'll walk over and just kind of like hold the pieces of heart steel as best I can.
Yeah, it's mostly one big piece. There are some smaller ones around, and it's big-ish. Like there's definitely enough material to make hands and then like a little bit more.
All right.
You kind of have to like hold it in two arms.
So I'll grab that and I guess we'll make our way back to the ship.
Yeah, and back on the ship, you guys see, like, you guys are on the ground, like the ship is on the ground. You feel a shudder, a gentle one. It wouldn't be concerning if you didn't know exactly what those two are doing, and there's probably this like moment of silence, like the music stops for an instant and then the island doesn't fall out of the sky, and then things relax a little bit on the ship, and you guys can decide if you want to go in there, but if you don't, a bit later, all three of them exit.
What did they?
What the fuck?
Where's
Did
Quinn?
you
Quinn.
do your hands?
Oh, Quinn, don't worry. Ozturk is bleeding pretty bad. I think he's in shock. He needs a stout
Shut up,
drink.
Looking bad.
You, Marbles, and the prof, I guess. Two of you, infirmary, now.
Yeah, let me just drop off this metal in the where do you want this, Reese?
You could just drop it by the organ.
Rail snap and get two of the crew to come and take
I'll
it.
probably need you to help me rebuild
Yeah.
my hands later anyway. So
Yeah.
Trail
I think
snap
at the
and
end of
go
this
for the crew to come
conversation,
grab it.
yeah, like Cantoni has already like organized people, two crewmates take the metal. Even as you're like, no, we're fine. We got like, you are being moved to the infirmary, which I just imagine is like an extension of the kitchen. Basically, there's like a corner where it's like, this is the infirmary corner.
it's just got like that white and red flag, just like lopsidedly hanging, like
Hanging on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
basically.
like having a first aid kit in your bathroom. That's that's the vibe.
Exactly.
Yeah, let me get my arms fixed up and then I can help you with yours, Reese. So I'm not much use like this, really.
And yeah, the lacerations are very lightning bolt shaped, and the center of them is bleeding. Although not maybe as much as you would think, because the edges of these scars are burnt.
Ow.
So it's kind of like you got struck by lightning, right in the palm of your hands.
Question here.
Yeah.
Do we feel any change in our magic, in like how we would work with the Aether, or how the Aether would flow with us?
I mean, for you, Reese, you do feel like as you're assessing, because you're not as injured, and you reassure people, no, I'm not dying, I just need to fix my arms. The sort of core of your being, like the skeleton and the channeling bits that you have, that you understand now are the same metal that you found around this island, that you now have like a good sample of to refix that way if you'd want. They seem to channel more, and as you examine at least your left hand that has more of it exposed, there is at the center of most of them, and the part that's been shaved off, it's almost like it's been crystallized. Like, have you ever seen when lightning hits sand?
Yeah.
It has been crystallized almost like the glass that holds aether energy, like the power glass that is at the core of your being, that is at the core of all like powerful magic items.
Dog, are you Mega Man now?
In your left hand, at least.
I
And you think the right hand is probably similar all the way down to your core.
Mega Man all the way down.
So that's definitely that way. Oliver, you're not sure. You're gonna have to do some stuff because you're sort of in pain and it's hard to like assess your
Yeah.
aether with that. I'll also say you are completely out of mana whether you spent it all or not. Like, this took everything you had and then some and kind of wiped you out. You think if you had somehow been able to stay conscious, you could have actually captured more aether in your body than you should be able to for that instant, but there was no way in hell you were keeping conscious and holding that kind of power.
Right.
All right. Well, I guess Quinn is just going to like shove a just pour a bottle of the harshest alcohol that he has on hand, of which there's a lot because we just got out of a party. It's like just doesn't even give Marbles a warning. Like just looks around, is like, are there any exit wounds? Takes a look at like I imagine the webbing on Oliver's hands looks a little bit like Lichtenberg figures.
Yeah, that's like the lightning bolt scars when people get struck by lightning.
Right. Quinn has no clue how to treat this beyond like a burn, so like he's actually going to pull some of the leftover polyps that he used for the gelatin, and make kind of like a patch job like burn cream out of it. Just slather it all over.
I like the figure. Roll me some of your medical skill real quick. We're gonna see if he gets the treatment for this, but it's a minor injury, so it shouldn't be too hard.
All right. Let's see. That is 13 plus 2 is a 15, and I'll go ahead and add 1 from my AP. Actually, you know what? I'll add 3.
Oh, you only need to get to 16. Because this is a flat roll. Because you use anesthetic, I'm just gonna say you also like have Oliver drink some, because you're like, I need you to not struggle, because you have that ability now. Otherwise, he would have to roll to not flinch when he did this. But as you do this, and Oliver, you're feeling pretty chill. It's a pretty strong drink, and you're already kind of still in a little bit of shock. So it's not a big deal, and you're just like, oh yeah, this cream feels real good. This like burn cream, and yeah, you managed to make a pretty good burn cream, Quinn. You think it's gonna do fairly well, and you get some bandages. You do happen to have some that are really more like rags that you boiled a while ago and prepared for this sort of thing on the ship, but it's what you got. And yeah, Oliver, you now have just like mummy wrapped hands from about knuckle to shoulder on both sides. But effectively, unless you get injured again, that's going to be healed in like a day or two. This is not the long rest kind of game when you get an injury.
Gotcha.
Yeah. While this is happening, Dre's just gonna like saddle over to Reese for a bit with a cigar, kind of lit, and just like watching all this happen. It's been kind of quiet, but like definitely make sure everybody's okay. Kind of just walks over, sits next to Reese quietly for a bit, and just like, so, did you do it?
We did something. I would say we had some level of success. I don't know the direct effect. We'll have to go back in and take some measurements and you know, study some of the results a little bit more before we have concrete evidence of what we managed to do. But
I feel like interrupting this just because I like this moment. Ozturk, who has also been given a stiff drink and had to get like a bolt dug out of his shoulder, but that was about it. It's like, they fixed it. Mostly.
I'm gonna pull Ozturk over, and like shove both of them in, and just shut up. Listen, do me a favor, actually.
Yeah.
Tell Oliver this too when he comes to. Keep that on the low for now, just for now.
Okay. You're the captain. He's pretty drunk already.
Damn right. I'll flick him on the forehead and let him
Yeah,
go.
Ozturk was in shock. We're more worried about Oliver here. Ozturk didn't. I don't even know if Ozturk can use magic, to be honest.
He is not experienced in magic.
That's totally fine. Neither am I.
I'm more worried about how diving that deep into something that full of aether might have affected Oliver. But I have plans. I have some schematics in my head for some gloves that will definitely help him magnify and channel aether better. So we definitely after some time rebuilding my arms could continue to make improvements to various cores. I think we could definitely save your homeland if we have the time.
And if we don't, we've given ourselves more time anyway. Appreciate that. Saw that piece of metal you hooked back in with. Once you get yourselves all patched up and fixed, let's talk about that sometime.
Sounds good.
Get some rest for the night, Reese. If you rest.
Anyways, I think that's a good place for this scene to sort of end. Reese, you get to roll for stuff. I'm not going to make Quinn roll to fix Ozturk because he is not remotely as injured. I think it's the next day that you guys decide you need to head out. Ozturk, when he recovers, maps out where this facility would be, and it is mercifully outside like the actual line of where the mine would be. Although you do have to park your ship like a good distance away because you're pretty sure they don't want an obvious not them ship to be within any kind of distance of this.
Yep.
So it is a bit of a trek, and it takes a lot of the next day.
If you don't mind, just as a thing, before we leave out, once we land the ship, as we're heading out, Dre would communicate to probably Danil and like some of the other like more notable trusted members of people he sent out. Just like now that you've kind of got a sense of like who's out, just like anyone who got a good sense of like people who would want to head this way, let them know they should meet us here at the ship, like as soon as possible. Sneak out whatever way you can. Meet here.
Danil's like, can we help them escape?
As long as it's violently.
She divvies up the group into there's really only like 12 of them, so she tries to assign those that are going to have a harder time. She doesn't send anyone to the main mining facility because that's going to take way more than them. But of the 8 that she mentions, several of them have multiple people going there, and they are off.
Fantastic.
And yeah, the trek between where you land and this facility where Ozturk believes it is not difficult. It is just long, and it's again a lot of these sort of coral versions of forests. Arden, I think as you put them together, or like as you're like looking around, you can see that they're really only in the shape of forests because this coral basically just ate up the wood as soon as it was down in the aether and in the same shape of it. I am not getting music.
I did stop, yes.
I got an internal server error. Oh boy.
Reload. Uh-oh.
I have done that.
The old reload button.
Anyways, well, I will keep working on that for the moment, though. You eventually find a building that's definitely a research facility that is not in as good a shape as the vault you were in. And I'd like to give you guys a bit on how you're going to address, or like, what's the word, like approach it.
It's the place then, huh?
Ozturk's like, yes, should be.
All right. Anybody got a plan? Is that usually my thing, I guess, right?
We can blow it up.
Let's not. Yet. Like where your head's at, though. Let's keep our heads low for now. Keep quiet. Approach silently. Spread out if we have to. Otherwise, just keep your eyes up, ears opener. Just heads on a swivel for now.
I guess the terrain around this area, is there a good spot for us to post various people to like watch and just
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah,
intel gather?
yeah, get some Overwatch would be good.
Yeah, you can set about some of the crew to do that and sort of hang back.
Hmm.
There's not any great spots, as this was obviously like had a yard around it, or I guess like a staging grounds that had some roads at some point. There's no of these like coral-ish trees around. So there's a good open space, but outside of that, this was more of, I guess, a remote facility. There's not like a town nearby. The mine that is there now was built on an old mine or a previously started one, so that's probably the closest like facility around, which is probably why this is here, is to get some of those minerals and research how to refine them. But there's not like a lot else, so there's some good positions in the tree line, but other than that,
Yeah. As we get closer to the tree line, we kind of like start putting people in places. Dre himself will kind of like hop up in like on a tree branch, hold a hand down towards Arden, just eyes, come here.
I'll take that. Go on up there.
The intent is just to get Arden to a good position where either Dre or Arden can just get a good look at the facility, see, get a good lay of the land, best approach, what the sort of terrain's looking like, and most importantly, does it seem like anyone else is here?
You can definitely roll me some things about that.
You got it, boss. Do you want me to roll anything to help
notice.
Arden with the climb, or just we can assume that happens already?
We can assume that happens.
Cool.
Arden, if you want to roll to see if it is comical or good, you can, but
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
for flavor.
For the flaves.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good roll. Yeah, that's already a 16 base. We're fine.
Yeah, I think you have possibly gotten used to going up the rigging a bit, possibly got help with Danilo learning how to do that. And so the tree is easier. There's a lot of handholds. It's very grippy. I think at one point you're worried that like it might break, but this is pretty sturdy stuff. You don't know. It's not like regular coral.
Oh. In which case, I'm
deep
gonna...
pressure, so.
I guess I'll try... Well, yeah, notice makes the most sense. Awareness notice makes the most sense. Could I, to represent Dre kind of more trying to like direct Arden's vision towards like what he's looking for, could I do command notice?
Sure.
Cool. That's one higher for me. Here comes the roll. Hello.
Roll.
It's not a bad roll on the dice. That's it's actually only a 12 on the dice, but I add a grand total of 6 to that, bringing it all the way up to a 17.
17, yeah. Oh, suddenly music came back for some reason.
Oh, it hasn't for me, but that might be because my silence came broken.
Mine is also just broken.
Yeah, I think it had it. I think it just like the server might crash or something. So everyone wants it, you probably like restart it if you have like.
Well, I don't get to change the music to the mood I wanted, but music is good. All right. Yeah. And then Arden, what did you get for the notice?
Which word? Great. This is.
Well, you get to add Dre's notice to it.
My cap.
So.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say I noticed my cap thing, but they're both +3.
Okay, so +3. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking need that. Because I rolled a 6 plus your 3 would make that 9 plus my 3 would make that 12.
Oof.
Let me see, because
Great
oh yeah, it's oof.
Ouch.
You can spend some points on that if you want. Your points, I'm going to say, do get refilled on the travel over here. So.
Oh, okay. That would be very helpful. It's like, okay,
Yeah, you
I'm
should do
starting to run.
Yeah, so you guys got a chance to rest. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright,
Spend
cool,
those.
cool.
Spend
Okay,
them. We
yeah,
spend
I
them.
would love to spend some points then. We'll spend. What did I say?
Although really only one more will make
no,
a.
yeah, I'll spend 3 because that's all I can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with the 15, and I think with Dre having the what was it 19? No, 17. You said 17. You both look around and you don't see anyone here now, but you do see on the side of the building, sort of to the right of the main door, is a hole in the wall that doesn't look like it was there from, I don't know, like natural causes. It looks more like someone blasted it inward.
Hmm.
So someone was here before.
Interesting.
But there's definitely not anyone here now. You're very, very sure.
Okay. Well, if anyone was here, I'd say subtlety would be the approach, but given that no one's here, I opt for speed. Thoughts?
Sounds good.
Consider myself that fast, but
Okay.
sure.
Quinn's gonna position himself like right behind Ozturk so that if anything comes from behind us, right? Like Quinn trusts the crew,
Hmm.
but
Ostrix a clumsy man. Yeah. You
Dre
guys can
hops down
enter
from the tree,
this.
just like, all right,
But-
combat pace. No running, but decent pace. Keep yourself moving. Don't fall behind.
Can I ask, what are we hoping to do here? You said you're willing to blow this place up. I'm a little bit confused on what our goal is with this location.
I think we'll know that once we find out what the hell this place actually is.
Ostrix like, please, let's not blow it up.
Oh
feel
yeah,
like we
no,
want
Dre
to
just
find
said that he
information.
likes explosions. That's all. That wasn't. He doesn't actually want to blow the place up at all. He just explosions are cool. That's all that really was. Sorry.
He likes where his mind's at, not necessarily that's the
Yeah,
point.
exactly. That's why I said like
Gotcha.
not yet, but I like where your brain is at. That's
Yeah,
all. I just.
We have only war brains here. It's fine.
I did not understand your phrasing. So
No, my bad. It's all good.
I was like, what are we trying to do here? Because why are we like, yes, maybe blow it up though?
I mean, we don't know
Yeah.
what's there. What if it's like some chthonic eldritch god monster shit, dog?
Yeah.
You guys just hear Reese in the
We're
background.
worshiping
He's
it.
just like SpongeBob memeing it. Don't blow it up. No explosions.
Yeah, as you sort of approach this facility, the things that you notice, especially with the previous rolls, the front door looks like it was, I don't know, like melted, like someone fused it. Reese, it seems like kind of the magic you would do, and in fact, you're kind of remembering this facility as you're here. The door used to not be like that, and you're remembering that you had a fellow like matter manipulator magic user that worked at this facility. And in fact, they had a few just to help with like their tests.
Hey, so like the door, it didn't used to be like that, guys. And I'm pretty sure that there was somebody else like me who could kind of do this kind of thing. But he was kind of a dick, so we might want to watch out for him.
On your
It
toes.
was
then.
120 years ago.
Fair enough. Never mind. In that case, he'd remembered. Just like, right, you're old. Any case, let's go.
As you go through the sort of hole in the wall that is a better door, you do notice a few things. There's like this first level is more like records keeping and like desks and offices and things, and most of the walls have been kind of knocked in. There's support beams so the whole thing doesn't collapse, but it's mostly not anything of interest as you look around. It's there would have been papers here, none of them are really kept as secure because this is not where research is kept, but you know there's a lower level into the ground.
Now, where you keep the research?
Hey.
There's nothing to see here, Captain. Move it along.
Captain, man, don't go showing off your senility now.
You
We
know?
get it, you're old.
Oh, sorry.
Then
I have to.
I would like some more awareness rolls as you go through, just for extra details that anyone can do.
All right, because I want to know what the fuck, because I know what the fuck Dre is looking here for. Dre knows this is where whatever the fuck made these people effectively slaughter my entire civilization was here. So I'm looking for that, something that would lead me to that. Please tell me the lore GM. Let's roll
That's a
dice.
15 for me.
Ooh, 15. All right.
Oh boy.
Just when it counts. I'll
Oh.
wait. I'll wait. It's fine.
Yeah, I should say, Reese, just so you know, anything that uses your hands, you have a -2.
Oh, I mean,
Because of this injury.
Reese is just kind of like walking along, very much fighting the urge to be like, Captain, my arms. I can't feel my arms.
I'm gonna say just give it to you that you rolled enough that you have recovered your left hand, but like it's not fully developed. You can hold things with it, and that's about it.
Got the
Fair,
Deadpool like
fair
baby hand.
It's more like a robot skeleton hand, is what I'm imagining. Like it doesn't have the
Yes.
full plating and musculature. It's like almost like a skeleton-looking thing going on, but metal.
Oh yeah, how are my hands doing?
They're fine. I mean, you don't want to injure them again because then it'll reopen the wounds, but they're treated.
Nice.
You got like a day or two before they fully recovered, and if you get hurt in that time, you're gonna take an extra like injury as you re-injure that arm, but you effectively don't have it anymore.
Gotcha.
You just gotta keep track of that. Anyways, but yeah, Reese, we're just gonna say you got that functional, and we'll roll afterwards to be like if you've improved stuff or how functional it is, but that's not important. Just yeah, -2 to anything involving hands, because injury.
Because you don't have one of those.
And you can't use. And I guess if it requires 2 hands, yeah, you can't do it. You can't do it.
He has a hand deficiency.
Yeah. Anyways, you do look at this level, and it was records keeping. Reese is what you remember, and there's nothing there. You do find the stairs going downstairs, where that's where like the real research was done, and I don't know. You could probably assume that's where it is. As for awareness, anyone get 16 or higher?
AGM.
Hmm?
I rolled 665 plus my
Damn.
my awareness is pretty sure it's like a +3.
Mhm.
Plus I got a +2 from chat. So
Hey.
as I was saying, tell me the lore.
Get into it. We
The
were
camera shake.
Camera shake is so good. What this is actually for, though, and you're going to be grateful, is Quinn and Dre, you guys who are maybe more worried of like, why was there a hole in the wall and what happened here? As you go down the stairs, there's a specific spot, Quinn, that you're like almost prepared to look for a trap. That as you go around the corner, Dre, you don't know that's like where a trap would be a good place to be put. It's like the first stair after the landing to go around that people just don't look at. But you also get the sense as you get there of like, this is a very vulnerable and exposed position that people don't normally look down in. And so both of you look down, and it's old, but it's made of a material not made on the island that is resistant to aether. And it's basically a really low tripwire plate. And as you follow it, on either side in the wall are holes someone has drilled, and like Quinn, you're really sure there's some like anti-personal explosives on either end of this.
Oh dear.
Stop.
Yeah, you basically like grab Ozturk by the back of his shirt, and he doesn't move forward. Whoop.
Yeah. Good eye, Quinn. This place is boobied. And not the good kind.
Question is, who put this there?
With your rolls, definitely not the original like inhabitants of this building. This is a building they work in. They're not going to booby trap like their office. If you keep things safe in an office, it's like doors and locks, not high explosives and tripwire.
Yeah, so this isn't just an office. This is where the big shit gets kept, I'm thinking. So whatever we're looking for, it's
I need to be clear. Whoever put a hole in the wall outside, who came here after the island sank, is the one who put the explosive here, you assume. This is not this is new.
so they're probably here.
No, you think
Okay, cool.
a previous time the island came up, someone put this here.
Okay, cool. Well, still, we should be careful.
It's been booby trapped, just not by the people who worked here ever, or the people who lived on this continent.
Dre will just like stop the group. Just like, good eye, Quinn. Pick up like a small rock off the ground, just like skip it over explosive plate. Just watch your feet.
We also don't know who or why someone put this in here. So
I need to ask, did you just set off the plate?
I mean, assuming okay, I should clarify for a bit of clarity here.
Oh no.
Do these look like really big plates? Like if these went off, it'd be like really, really fucking horrible? Or is it like small?
You don't know the size of the explosion. You don't know the size of the explosion
or like
in the wall.
it's
just the thing that
in
triggers
which case, no, because I don't think Dre is that stupid.
Okay, that was what I want to be clear. I mean, Reese, if you want to disassemble it, you're just gonna have -2 to the roll. Otherwise, everyone could just step over it.
Step over. Let's do that.
I mean, Quinn's for leaving it in here since we don't know who or why someone put something in here.
We also might still be being followed, possibly.
Yeah, so if they don't notice,
I
then
mean-
sucks to be them.
-2 to the roll would give me a 13.
Don't
Meeting
roll that. I feel like you guys are having this discussion, and Reese, you just with your left hand go over and just do this, and everyone's like, ah! And you disengage the wire, like just fairly
My
easily.
God.
There's a loud snap, but it doesn't go off because you disengage it from the correct spot.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I'm just saying, if you rolled, that means you did it. Like you don't get to roll and say, "Do I do it?"
Oh no, I rolled because I was gonna do it. You don't give me the option if you don't want me to do it.
But what happened to the
told
plan
you
of
you do
leaving
it
it
with
armed in
-2.
case we're being followed?
You're like, I can rearm it.
I can rearm it.
Let's just keep moving for now.
Yeah. Just to move it along a bit because we're running to the end of the time. You guys follow down some stairs, and with these, with the awareness rolls you've had, there's multiple levels to this place. And Reese, you're remembering more and more of this facility. At the first level, there's several, I guess, labs. They seem to be more like testing facilities, but they're not where like final products are kept. It seems like the very first of like, what elements do we have and what do they already do? You find a few cabinets actually that are locked but pretty easy to open, but they have preserved the papers inside. It's made of the same stuff, Reese, that kept your journal. And it is, yeah, just like some basic information on this is how steel reacts to aether. This is how copper and tin and all that. Oliver, you can definitely roll afterwards for like getting some new materials out of this because they've done a lot of the research you do. You get around these offices, it seems, again, just some of that kind of study. The second level seems to be refinement. It's a lot of like these tables that are designed to channel aether in a very specific ways that, again, just sort of looking at them, you surmise, and Reese, you sort of start to remember this is them experimenting with what they can do with these materials.
Oh yeah, I'm
Arden,
fairly certain that one of these labs was where we experimented on the assassin crabs to make super assassin crabs. We gave them metal plating. We mounted some spear guns on one of them.
I like the idea that this is a thing that was attempted, and then you realize that the crabs will not live for long enough out of aether to be super useful. But you're like, eh, you had to dive to get them. They didn't used to live here on this island.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
this is the
like,
thing you did.
it was all in the name of science. The experiments didn't go well.
There's
Arden, you can decide how you feel about that.
creeds to worry about here. We're far before there's any fucking PETA or anything. We're good, dog. All right.
Like, look, I'm a little disappointed, but at the same time, I learned how to basically create my shell from these experiments. So
That seems pretty important.
Arden, I would like you to roll some of your aether biology real quick.
Just a knowledge roll for me.
It could be knowledge or awareness, I think, is either of them, but those are the same number for you, so.
I'm waiting for Arden to be like, Reese, you're full of shit.
Well, we'll see. The way my D6s have been treating me today, I don't know about that.
And you can give me that number in a second. I'm going to keep narrating for a
Okay,
bit.
okay.
You guys are, as you're in this space, you do find a final door, and just sort of using the same rolls, you find also in a vulnerable place once or twice around this office are more of these explosives. Maxwell, what did you roll for awareness? Did you roll?
I did.
You're also-
I had a 12.
Yeah, you didn't notice the first one because you didn't really notice the explosive. You're more looking around for information. But the second and third, I think you also realize there's flares sort of attached to this. Like if one of these goes off, everyone in the area is going to be alerted. Like everybody, even if they don't hear it. It's a pretty, yep, real tall flare. And in fact, you kind of recognize the make. It's older, so this is definitely not from like the last few decades when you were operating, but it's used by various spy organizations, or was used as sort of a. It has a very specific color. They're color coordinated to like know how far in they were triggered and everything. Uh, it might even be the make of like the same people you work for. They at least used it for sure at some point. You don't know if they made it specifically or not, but.
Gotcha.
And
For
Arden, what'd you get?
notice roll.
So I rolled a 12. Um, so
I like this
I'll use
flavor if you want to leave it
points.
there, but well, because
Yeah, I'll use
you
points
can't
for
get it
that.
past 15 though with 3 points
Yeah.
unless you have something I
Oof.
don't remember. But
Nah,
so
that's
it's
just
good. It's
it.
still a comedic success.
My dice hit me.
Some of the paperwork you find, because you're all sort of looking through it, mentions them experimenting on specifically the little I think Dre called them lightning suckers, like the
Light
little
suckers.
yeah, the little like mollusks that can redirect, especially electric aether energy, but they store a lot of aether in them really well. They're trying to recreate it, and as you get to the final level, this is where they kept results, and you find more traps, and they're easy to avoid now that you know where they're at and disarm. And there's several file cabinets that have been destroyed, and not like by natural causes, like melted. And Ozturk seems kind of crestfallen. It's become obvious that someone came here afterwards and tried to hide something. But with Quinn, you have the highest notice, and you're mostly looking for danger. You notice there aren't like bodies here. Animals definitely came in and got rid of them a long time ago. The music keeps cutting in and out. All right. But you also notice, I don't know, like there's a loose brick, I guess, in the wall, or like a plate. And as you move it, someone has hidden paperwork. It's crumpled and it's old, but it's in one of these like metal containers that preserves it, and hidden in like the back behind one of these destroyed file cabinets. And I really wish I'd get rid of the music because it's not the vibe I'm going for.
I would just force quit it, honestly. Because Sirenscape is like super broke. I'd just force quit it, honestly.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody else besides us is hearing it anyway. If it's you hearing it anyway.
Fine. And I will just mute it.
Yeah, we all turned it off. Heck's over there vibing. Heck's got a vibe going.
But yeah, cool. You can't read it. This is not in like your native language. This is also very old. And I guess Ozturk gets a hold of it and he looks at. Yeah, he looks at it and he stops and he thinks, and he kind of ignores all of you except for Dre. He says, "This is." They made aether glass. They invented it. A whole 20 years before the IITC said they did.
And someone stole how to do it and sold him the info.
I don't think you understand this. It's not just that they invented it. It's easy to make. It's bizarrely easy. It's you could do this with 3 years of chemistry knowledge at most. Like you could teach someone without any knowledge of what to do if you understood it. It just takes the mollusks, the aether mollusks, and sand of a certain quality, and he doesn't know how to like finish for a minute. And you know how valuable that glass is?
Too valuable. That's why they did it.
And he
Are
sort
you-
of thumbs down. He's just
Are you saying someone did this for the fucking money?
You surprised?
Well, I mean, they invented it first. If they had it, no one else did. Think about military-grade cannons, airships, hell, the magically run carts and even personal flying machines. And Reese, the thing inside of you. And Reese, you're
My
remembering
soul?
Reese, you're remembering the aether glass that is your brain and your heart. What is required to hold your consciousness and like basically a consistent aether charge is made of that. And it's why you would have a hard time making another one. Is it's a super closely guarded secret that you just couldn't remember until he explains it to you, and you know that's why you came here. They are the first people to do it. And it's this dark moment where you realize you were unconscious for 120 years because it took about that long for the constant dipping in the aether to charge you up enough to be awake again. And Ostrich has nothing left to say. He just sort of sits there.
Hey, GM, can
Mhm.
I sneak a notice roll in? Because
Yeah.
Maxwell, you rolled and you noticed some similarity in the traps, yeah? I don't
Yeah.
need to notice. I don't need Dre to like notice that you see the similarity. I just want to see if Dre can pick up that you like are clearly focusing on something. That's all he's going for here.
I wouldn't say he's focusing on it, but
Okay,
if you
fair
want
enough.
to try and figure it out, you sure can. I don't.
I just
Yeah.
want him to have an inkling to be like,
I mean, he
"What are
might.
you thinking about this?"
This is the way I. Okay, if you want,
I'm going to say it's not
how do you
something that he
find
has
out
to
what
think
someone?
about.
What am I thinking about right now? Because I don't know how you roll that. I have no idea how you try and figure that
Yeah.
out. Because I can tell you exactly what he's thinking. Well, actually, I
Well,
probably need to talk with Tate to figure out exactly what he's thinking. But I have a good idea of what he's thinking.
I would like this roll maybe afterwards. And that's maybe like an awkward place to stop, but I think that's kind of the scene.
no, I'm cool
It's
with
just
it.
Osterk
Yeah.
kind of falling apart as it becomes clearly obvious this is not an internal thing.
I mean, some of us already knew that, but
Well, he can't deny it anymore. But anyways, that was a fun and somewhat tense episode of The Violet Sea.
yikes.
Yeah, we're going to deal with the fallout of that next time in 2 weeks. I would
Yeah.
love, in the same order that we started with, everybody's name, who they're playing, and where we can find you.
What's up, Internet? It's Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite fox. I can be now found on the internet at Foxy Eternal. That's FOXXII, and Eternal spelled the way the word is ETERNAL for now. Who knows? I'm gonna change it soon. Because I decided to make Twitter again today. I don't know. I just decided to do that because I felt like doing that. So that's the thing. In any case, outside of that, I played the audacious, rambunctious, and loquacious Captain Dre today. And it was super awesome to do that. And I guess the next place you'll see me is Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. Thursday it is over on Lead the Tail with Into the Stormlands, and this was great and super awesome, and I had a lot of fun, and I think my players are also awesome too. So I'm gonna pass it down to Michelle with that.
Hey guys, it's me, Michelle. You can not find me on social media. I played Quinn, our chef come medic come bodyguard. And where can you find me next? I think the place you can find me next is going to be in 2 Wednesdays from now for After the End with Foxy over here as our GM. Passing it down to Fail.
Hey all, I'm Phil Prime. I played Reese. I no longer have an arm. So I guess we're kind
That's a
of
thing.
what is it, Lieutenant Danning it for a while. You can find me at Phil Prime on Twitter. Right now, this is the only game I'm currently playing. So you can catch me here when we're next live. But I do have some stuff in the works. So we will be bringing you some content fairly soon, probably around June. And we're gonna throw it over.
Unmute. Hey everybody, it's me, Sir Heckalot. I played Arden Clark, the ether biologist, who has all their arms. Stop laughing at me, Foxy. You
I'm
can find
saying
me.
hilarious shit then.
You can find me on all the social medias at Sir Heckalot. Itch, Twitch, Twitter. All my links are down in the chat. Basically, you can find me one way or another. In terms of where you can see me next in the TTRPG space for this week, you can only find me on Wednesday over at Lost Caravan RPG playing Locust. Because otherwise I am taking finals this week, so I'm going to be very scarce for most of the days moving forward. But the week after, you can find me on TPK Roleplay with Oathsworn Odyssey of the Dragon Lords and Queen's Gambit, Tyranny of Dragons campaign, as well as a Coven game I have coming up for right after next episode of Violet Sea here. About 2 hours after this is going to end, I'm going to be doing a Basic Witches, which is a cute little game where a bunch of teen femmes cast spells and save the day with pumpkin spice lattes and lip gloss in hand. So be ready. But I think that is it. Moving on over.
All right. Well, first of all, good luck with finals. But I've been Lucian. I played Dr. Oliver Evans. Slightly singed. Feeling pretty good though. I'll be back again in 2 weeks for just, more of this. And yeah, that's about all I got going on. So I'll just pass it on over to Purple.
Hello, I'm Purple Phil. I played Maxwell Tunnel, or definitely just a boat historian. Don't worry about it. The next place you can see me will be tomorrow. Tomorrow night on TPK Roleplay at 5 p.m. My show, The Iron GM, will be on with our two guests, one of which is here with us. Tate will be one of the contestants, making up a one-shot, as well as Ashen Rabbit. And so it'll be a fun little competition where they go head-to-head to make a better one-shot in an hour, and then you get to hear about it. Yeah, and there'll be secret ingredients and all that fun. It's a good time. I like putting that show on. So yeah, come check it out and come see Tate, cheer him on. And your votes matter. So if you show up, you can help contribute to who wins if you like Tate's one shot. Or if you like Ashes. Yeah, with that, I'll just
They might like Ashes.
yeah. Hey, you guys are welcome to like whatever you want.
It's tough because on one hand, like I want Tate to redeem my honor as the Neon Lights GM, because I lost mine. But on the other hand, Ash is fucking nice, dog. Like,
Got it. You gotta vote on the one shot. It is not it's not an interpretation of who you like more. That's the way I like to think of it. At
I
least
will not hold
obviously.
grudges. It's fine.
as an impartial judge is my hope. But yeah, with that, I'll pass it off to Tate.
Yeah. Hello, Twitch. My name is Tate Washburn. I have been the Lorist for this. Woof. Woof. I was excited for this episode. It was a good episode. I enjoyed this episode. My players even threw me some curveballs that were real good. I did not expect two of our scientists to attempt to fix a continent. Anyways, and yeah, you can find me at kinda_writing, which is where I do Twitter. I mostly do memes, politics, and tabletop stuff, and I might do some more art again. We'll see. I'm feeling it. Anyways, yeah, next you'll find me tomorrow on, when you said, the Iron GM. Oh boy, that's gonna be a ride. And then on Saturday, like the next Saturday, I'm also going to be in Foxy's campaign that he runs against the light, where I play a swordy elf boy who has a fiance that I didn't know about, but he did. Anyways,
and let me tell you,
yeah,
that's gonna be a fucking session.
yeah. Otherwise, you can definitely follow this show's Twitter at Neon Lights Our Play, where we do much better jokes and tabletop stuff, and it's really good. And also, you could find us on our Discord, where I post some of the in-universe music that I think is happening. It doesn't happen as much as I would like sometimes, but I try and work it in there. It's always there. Music is a part of life. And yeah, other than that, I've had a great time. playing. I hope y'all have a great time watching, and we'll see y'all next time.
We are throwing our raid over to the incomparable Ali Peach Senpai, so please stick around for that. She's playing some Evo Land 2 with 17 viewers. We're gonna bump that up to a solid, what? I can do math. 28 if we can. If we get everybody slotted on over there. So please hang tight as we do that, and we will see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye, babes.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. We out? We good?
Free.
Yes? No? It's free? It's
Free.
free? Free?
Free. It's free. It's free.
Oh.